Hello everyone, welcome. Okay, let's get this started. Hello everyone, welcome. Okay, let's get this started. Okay, we're gonna turn this thing down. Yeah, I'm watching back on my phone, so I don't want to give it feedback. Okay, so today's topic, we're going to be comparing Ethereum, Neo, and EOS. So we're going to break down each one. We're going to look in their white papers. And we're going to be comparing the roadmap. So what are they trying to accomplish in the future? So let's start with Ethereum. Okay. So what's very weird about Ethereum is that the actual white paper is not on the Ethereum website anymore. I actually had to get it from a GitHub redirect that someone uploaded. So I'm gonna look into that also. But let's start. So Ethereum is basically the ecosystem. People need to view it that way. It's not a currency per se. Ether is a token for Ethereum, but Ethereum essentially is the actual ecosystem and the network. So let's just read this. Ethereum is a decentralized platform that runs smart contracts. Applications that run exactly as programmed without any possibility of downtime, censorship, fraud, or third-party interference. These apps run on a custom-built blockchain, an enormously powerful shared global infrastructure that can move value around and represent the ownership of property. This enables developers to create markets, store registries of debts or promises, move funds in accordance with instructions given long in the past, like a will or a futures contract, and many other things that have not been invented yet, all without a middleman or counterparty risk. The project was bootstrapped via an Ether pre-sale in August 2014 by fans all around the world. It is developed by the Ethereum Foundation, a Swiss nonprofit with contributions from great minds across the globe. Okay, so basically, that was the key thing. It says removing middleman, and that's the beautiful thing about Ethereum and its competitors, Ethereum, Neo, and EOS. Their goals is basically smart contracts and a platform that will remove any need of a middleman. But with this analysis that we're going to go through each one, we're going to see which one might have the longest chance or had the best chance to be the winner out of the three. And there might not necessarily be a winner. It might just depend on which companies, because Ethereum for the most part is Western and Neo for the most part is Eastern based, so China. So let's read the next paragraph. On traditional server architectures, every application has to set up its own servers that run their own code in isolated silos, making sharing of data hard. If a single app is compromised or goes offline, many users and other apps are affected. On a blockchain, anyone could set up a node that replicates the necessary data for all nodes to reach an agreement and be compensated by users and app developers. This allows user data to remain private and apps to be decentralized like the internet was supposed to work. So that's the main strength that they want to say, the blockchain, obviously decentralized force. And yeah, so it basically means what they're trying to go for is just there's no middleman and they could remove fraud, which is awesome. So for some reason, when you go on Google and you type in Ethereum white paper, what it necessarily does is it redirects me to this page when I click on the white paper. So the one that Vitalik Buterin actually wrote is not on the website for some odd reason. I don't know why, because every other website keeps their actual white paper on there. So whatever, let's just move on. So they're talking about the Ethereum wallet here. The Ethereum wallet is a gateway to decentralized applications, or other known as dApps, on the Ethereum blockchain. It allows you to hold and secure Ether and other crypto assets built on Ethereum, as well as write, deploy, and use smart contracts. And that's one of the main strengths is smart contracts, and we'll get into that shortly. Okay, let's see here. Give me one moment. Okay. Learn Solidity, a new language for smart contracts. Create a tradable digital token that can be used as a currency, a representation of an asset, a virtual share, a proof of membership, or anything at all. These tokens use a standard coin API, so your contract will be automatically compatible with any wallet. Other contract or exchange also uses standard. The total amount of tokens in circulation can be set to a simple fixed amount or fluctuate based on any programmed rule set. So yeah, it's Ethereum just pushing the idea that it is a network. It's a hub for people to come in and do contracts, create their own tokens, and just transact without need of any traditional banking system or other outside entities. So it shows here a diagram of these individuals are all linked together, and they got their own money, fiat or token or whatever they have. It says you can build a tradable token with a fixed supply, a central bank that can issue money, a puzzle-based cryptocurrency. So it's just basically a tool, and however you want to use it, you can use it in that way. And as of right now, Ethereum out of the three has the most established one. There's the most amount of tokens, and there's the most amount of decentralized applications being built for it. So the next section is kickstart a project with a trustless crowd sale. Do you already have ideas that you want to develop on Ethereum? Maybe you need help and some funds to bring them to life, but who would lend money to someone they don't trust? Using Ethereum, you could create a contract that will hold a contributor's money until any given date or goal is reached. Depending on the outcome, the funds will either be released to the project owners or safely returned to the contributors. All of this is possible without requiring a centralized arbitrator, clearinghouse, or having to trust anyone. You can even use a token you can even use a token you create earlier to keep track of the distribution of rewards. You can build a crowdfunded pre-sale product, a crowd sale to sell virtual shares in a blockchain organization, an auction of a limited number of items. Once again, this is another aspect of Ethereum that makes it very strong. You don't have to go to the traditional route of IPOs. If you have a company and if you're very, very, very small and you want to grow, if you have a great idea and you have the proper team, then you could do an ICO. And the thing is, Ethereum being a place that you could give your ideas and also try to build something that's truly unique. It's all code based, so you could choose whatever you want, whatever properties you want. There's no one to tell you otherwise, besides if the government regulations unless government regulations want to come in, which is a completely different aspect, and that's outside of Ethereum's control. But I think Vitalik Buterin, who's the guy who made Ethereum, who created the original white paper, he's been very in the space of talking to leaders and also going to every single major blockchain conference. So he spoke with Vladimir Putin couple, I think it was over the summer, and they spoke about possible benefits of blockchain technology in the energy sector. And also there's new news about Vladimir Putin talking about ICO regulations, but we'll get to that later. Okay, next section is create democratic autonomous organization. Now that you've developed your idea and secured funds, what's next? You have to hire managers, find a trustworthy CFO to handle the accounts, run board meetings, and do a bunch of paperwork. Or you could simply leave all that to the Ethereum contract. It will collect proposals from your backers and submit them through a completely transparent voting system. One of the many advantages of having a robot running organization is that it is immune to any outside influence, as it's guaranteed to execute only what it was programmed to. And because the Ethereum network is decentralized, you'll be able to provide services with 100% uptime guarantee. Okay, and the next part in the white box, you can build a virtual organization where members can vote on issues, a transparent association based on shareholder voting, your own country with an unchangeable constitution, a better delegative democracy. So this is one of the major strengths of Ethereum. And this is the reason why when people compare Bitcoin and Ethereum, I'm just like, you people have no idea. Like, Bitcoin is strictly currency. It's not in the smart contracts, it's not any of this. And think about it from a business standpoint. Okay, first, you don't have to deal with humans if you don't. It could be very minimal. You can have a small team and let robots do the work. It's very algo based. And there's no middleman, like I said before. This is a beautiful system. Everything's autonomous. You don't have to deal with anyone, no middleman, no nothing. The robot can run it. Robot meaning the actual program, because it won't exploit you. If you're a business and you're worried about people scamming you, or you're worried about a person you're doing business with, and there might be fraud or manipulation of some sort, you don't have to worry about any of that, because it's all robot based. They only do what they're programmed to do, and it's completely open source. So it's awesome. Build a new kind of decentralized application. Now it's your turn. Start building what you dream of creating in Ethereum. Could your business be enhanced by operating on a cryptographically secure, decentralized, tamper-proof network? Check out the many great projects already being built on Ethereum, and since you'll be among the first developers in the world that are able to program decentralized applications, some of them might need your help. So yeah, the thing is it completely tamper-proof? This is the thing. One of the big speculation about Ethereum is it truly unhackable, and is it truly safe? Because what happened with the DAO, which I spoke about this a little bit in the previous live stream, if you want to check that out, is that last summer there was a huge hack when the DAO pre-sale tokens were happening, and what Ethereum had to do is go through several forks to make sure that none of the funds are tampered, or no further funds are tampered with, and they could retrieve the lost tokens. So that's what happened, and people are like, "Oh, is that really Ethereum's fault, or is that the DAO's fault of those developers?" The thing is, most people, including myself, don't have that intense computing background. I'm not, and all that code behind it. But they say it's safe. But of course, Ethereum Foundation is going to say it's safe. It's their baby, you know, it's their blockchain. But as of right now, everything looks good. The previous forks have been positive. We just went through Byzantine and Constantinople, and Serenity is coming up. So, and that's going to transfer Ethereum to proof of stake from proof of work. So that's a huge event that will happen to Ethereum, and that's one of the things chokeholding Ethereum into basically not letting it grow as quickly as Bitcoin, price-wise anyway. Transactions, I think Ethereum's transactions are about to outdo Bitcoin, but that's largely due, I believe, with the tokens, all these smaller tokens being created for Ethereum, these ERC20 tokens, that basically the way I view it is like Ethereum, I've been hearing this before, I said before, Ethereum is the mall, and these other smaller tokens are the stores operating within the mall. So, and yeah, that's a very interesting thing about Ethereum, because you're gonna have coins that use the Ethereum blockchain, these tokens, that are gonna be worth 10 times more than Ethereum down the line, I believe, if Ethereum's the one that really makes it. But I think it will, because of the big money behind it. Okay, let me see here. Well, let's check out these many great projects. Let's see the decentralized applications, if we can find anything good here. Okay, so apparently it says there's 690. So yeah, you have these very weird, obscure ones. I think they rate them. What's this blue? Work in progress, concept. So you see the purple ones are concept, the blue ones are work in progress, and the green ones are live. And these white ones are unknown, so those are basically nothing. And I guess between concept, work in progress, and live, you have demo. Yeah, so these are very interesting. So so a lot of them are just concept based, right? Because this is a very new space. Ethereum's only been around for a couple of years now, and even with that, it's such a small thing, and so many businesses will probably move to Ethereum blockchain because of the immense benefits behind it. So let's read a couple of these are live. All right, peer-to-peer token exchange built on top of 0x, which I believe that's the 2x SegWit. I'm assuming. I'm not too familiar with that. So, but you have these other weird ones like Ethereum for data. So you get paid for your knowledge. What's the knowledge that you need? We could click on it. Okay, open a new tab. Let's see, let's go into this. And this is only a concept, so I'm just reading it because I haven't checked this out yet. Tired of being free product for enterprises? Time to get paid. Author Ed Kean. No tags. So yeah, this is very new. This is a concept. There's nothing behind it. It's a concept. There's an idea, not that fleshed out, but it's there. So obviously in the beginning, in this very chaotic period, you're going to have a lot of these applications that are basically, this is all they have, you know, like they have the token, I'm assuming, or they're trying to crowdfund for the token, but yeah, it's very much so in its infancy. And if the right minds actually put together a right product that will be used by a lot of people, then 5 to 10 years down the line, that one token might be worth $1,000 or so per token, depending on, you know, what's the amount of coins out there, if you pull that at consideration. But I'm just talking about these very, very high valuable tokens. I'm not sure if Ethereum for data is going to make it, but maybe these other ones will. So yeah, Ethereum, this is the beautiful thing about Ethereum too, right? Ethereum has a lot of dApps that are currently development. It's the most organized, and it's overall the most centralized, if that's the right term you want to give it, because there's so much support for it. These other coins, I mean, these other ones are trying to replicate what Ethereum does, just don't have this relatively easy interface and resources to understand all these type of dApps, because already most people getting into crypto in the first place is it's a huge learning curve to get into in the first place, and even getting to like stuff like dApps it's also a learning curve. So if you're coming in, if you're not even that tech savvy, you're gonna have a hard time, let alone know all this. But as we continue along in the crypto space, then these ideas and these programs will be fully fleshed out, and the barrier to entry, just to know the knowledge of and to participate, will get easier and easier and easier to it. So yeah, Ethereum subscriptions. There's a demo of it. Let's click this one because this one is just subscription payments. So there's this guy Gregory Hogue +3. So there's probably 4 developers, and maybe one of them's like the CEO. Relatively, whoever CEO is the creator or the main mind behind it. Okay, so the site doesn't give you too much. It just says subscription payments. So I don't know completely behind it. Maybe this is something like, okay, you get a letter, you're subscribed to a letter online, right? Somebody's service. Then every month you could just send it out of my smart contract from your account of crypto straight into the person's private wallet, and you get the content. You don't have to worry about it. It's all automated. So that's probably the gist of what this guy's going for. And there's apparently there's an operatable demo from it, and it's a brand and it's new. So you're seeing a lot of these startups come up. Okay. So yeah, there's just some odd stuff. Transforming Twitter arguments into bets. That's funny, honestly. And you have a lot of initial bounty offering, crowdsourced human resources development, marketing. So yeah, it's like what blockchain is trying to do in these smart contracts. It's to consolidate proper resources all over the world, human resources. So if you have a strength in graphic design or programming or whatever your field is, it could put together the right team for the right job, you know, without any other entity getting involved, so you get the most amount of money for it. But at the same time, people don't understand is that these also at the same time, humans are kind of getting, I wouldn't say phased out, but a large population of humans will not be able to compete because they're just not aware of what's happening right now, unfortunately. But you know, this is where we get into the weird realm of what financial systems are going to come out in the future from this blockchain technology. So yes, there's going to be more physical labor, that if you are a guy that you specialize in building cabinets, for example, you're a carpenter, then you could go through a specific blockchain to get jobs, you know, so you have to be kind of tech savvy for that. But yeah, it's going to get to the point that everyone is going to be on these things, try to get proper jobs, and this will most benefit people that are like coders or people that stuff do, or people that do stuff online, because you could work globally at that point, you know, or if you have a business that ships stuff globally, this could work too. But this could also work on a local level, and that's the beautiful thing about this peer-to-peer networking that could work too. So if anyone's got two phones and you're coming together, you could hire someone, they could drive over, they could do it, and automatically when they're done, they submit done, you confirm it because you're there, and you submit done, and you submit it, and you can just send the payment right there. So it's a beautiful thing. Okay, so that's like, this is like a short thing about dApps, and this will continue to go on because a lot of these tokens, if they're ERC20, that means it's so easy that a lot of these Ethereum-based wallets accept these tokens. So that's what I'm talking about. It's a community, and it's basically a mall, and all these stores are within it, and they're operating with each other. So if these blockchains also derive information from other ones also, it makes it more compatible. So it's like the strength of everyone coming together in Ethereum. Okay, let's move on to the next page. Yeah, we're done with this one. Okay, so let's exit this. This is an image. This is a web page catcher from Vitalik Buterin's website for the original Ethereum white paper on December 28th, 2013. So yeah, this is his first idea for it. This was on his website, but he pulled it down, or whatever entity controlled the website now pulled it down. So this is the original white paper. So this is what's on the website. This is what I saw. And basically it's talking about he's talking about Ethereum is actually in many ways simpler than Bitcoin-based cryptocurrencies that we use today. He's talking about the peer-to-peer protocol, the Ghost protocol, introduced by Yonatan Sompolinsky and Aviv Zohar, and he's linking it. So this is very basic. This is his original one. And he has a lot of code in here talking about the data format, mining algorithms, transaction, pretty basic stuff overall. Then he brings up the contracts. So cryptographic smart contract simplicity, computational universality, size universality, and all of that. So I'm not gonna go into depth here because it's all code. But basically, this is just his original white paper. And yeah, that's pretty much that. So we'll just read the conclusion. The Ethereum's protocol's design philosophy is in many ways opposite from what is taken from other cryptocurrencies today. Other cryptocurrencies aim to add complexity and increase the number of features. Ethereum, on the other hand, takes features away. The protocol does not support multi-signature transactions, multiple inputs and outputs, hash codes, lock times, or many other features that Ethereum provides. All complexity comes from an all-powerful Turing-complete assembly language, which can be used to build up literally any feature that is mathematically describable. The language itself follows an Orwellian newspeak principle. Any instruction which can be replaced by a sequence of less than 4 other instructions has been removed. As a result, we have a cryptocurrency protocol whose code base is a very small and yet which can anything that any cryptocurrency will ever be able to. So yeah, basically saying it's more open and basically the language allows it for a lot more support, because other cryptocurrencies, they focus on security, so it's all about that multi-signature stuff, while Ethereum more focuses on being a platform. Okay, so next one. Okay, so this is Raiden Network, and I'll get to it in a second. So let's see here. Okay, the Raiden Network. So basically, the Raiden Network is going to run alongside Ethereum. That's why I believe. That's what I've been understanding of it for the most part. So the Raiden Network, let's just read it. The Raiden Network is an off-chain scaling solution enabling near-instant, low-fee, and scalable payments. It's complementary to the Ethereum blockchain. It works with any ERC20 compatible token. The Raiden project is a work in progress. Its goal to research state channel technology, define protocols, and develop reference implementations. So like I was saying, previously is that the way Ethereum was built is that it could run alongside these other type of networks. So the Ryan network is one of those networks. So it's scalable, scales linearly with the number of participants. It's fast, it's private, it's inoperable. This is interesting. It's private. Individual transfers don't show up in the global shared ledger. So that's one difference. Low fees, micropayments. So let's read the technology behind it. The Ryan network is an infrastructure layer on top of the Ethereum blockchain. While the basic idea is simple, the underlying protocol is quite complex and the implementation non-trivial. Nonetheless, the technicalities can be abstracted away such that developers can interface with a rather simple API to build scalable, decentralized application based on the Raiden. So it's saying that if we view things, right, the Ethereum as its basis is the foundation upon it. And what Raiden wants to do is add like another layer on top of that. So if you want, you can build decentralized applications on top of the Raiden enhanced Ethereum network rather than just Ethereum alone, which will give you other options, and there's more you could customize a little bit more from that. So how that's going to be done, I don't know, because it's still a work in progress, but once it does happen, it'll be very interesting to see what benefits that's going to come from that. And it's one thing that Ethereum has over its competitors. Once again, it's got these other things going for it, which some of them will be very good. I think it will be good for Ethereum. Some of them might just be fluff and no one really cares about it. It's too early to tell. But let's read the next paragraph. Writing Network 101. Blockchains don't scale well because there needs to be global consensus on the order and outcome of all transfers. Every participant needs to learn about all updates to the shared ledger. Hardware and bandwidth constraints set a limit on the number of updates per second that can be shared in a decentralized network. The basic idea of the NetRide network is to avoid the blockchain consensus bottleneck. This is done by leveraging a network of payment channels which allow to securely transfer value off-chain without involving the blockchain for every transfer. To learn more, read the Writing Network 101 to take a look at current specification and check out the code. So let's read back that one line. The basic idea is that the Writing Network is to avoid the blockchain consensus bottleneck. This is done by leveraging a network of payment channels which allow to securely transfer value off-chain without involving the blockchain for every transfer. So yeah, that's a huge bottleneck with any cryptocurrency based off the blockchain, right? So what that means is every single transfer that's done, right? Every single transfer has to concede with the blockchain. That's one of its main strengths, but it's a bottleneck. So to get around that, Raiden tries to figure out a very complex solution for it to avoid that problem. But the thing is, let's just see how it works, because this is a very difficult thing to do, right? So people think, oh, how can blockchain, right? How are you gonna get rid of one of the best things about the blockchain? But the thing is, Ethereum, that's one of the main things that's against is a scalability issue, right? So this is one main strength of the Raiden. It helps out with scalability without coming to a major consensus and doing a fork. So let's check out the Raiden Network 101. So yeah, this is one of the major things that's going to happen to Ethereum. Raiden Network and Serenity, the Serenity fork that's going to happen. Checking here. Okay, so Raiden Network. The Raiden Network is an off-chain scaling solution for performing ERC20 compliant token transfers on the Ethereum blockchain. Sorry, give me one moment. Okay. The Raiden Network allows secure transfers of tokens between participants without the need for global consensus. Like I said before, there is no global consensus needed, which every single other blockchain does. this is what the Ryan network is trying to accomplish. This is achieved using digitally signed and hash locked transfers called balance proofs, fully collateralized by previously set up on-chain deposits. This concept, illustrated in Figure 1, is known as payment channel technology. Payment channels allow for practically unlimited bidirectional transfers between two participants, as long as the net sum of their transfers does not exceed the deposited tokens. These transfers can be performed instantaneously and without any involvement of the actual blockchain itself, except for initial one-time on-chain creation and eventual closing of the channel. So the way I view it, right, is that, so they're saying there's only a one-time on-chain creation. So basically what it's doing, it's creating, instead of doing the two-way channel, you go into one portion, the one-time on-chain, it does this interaction. That's where the Ryan network comes in. So you could view it as like maybe like a neuron firing, and between it hitting to the other cell, it does another computation in between through the Ryan network and does its purpose, which speeds it up and just fires it back. Ryan balance proof is a binding agreement enforcing by the Ethereum blockchain. Digital signatures make sure that neither party can back out of any value transfers contained therein, as long as at least one of the participants decides to present it to the blockchain. Since nobody else other than the two participants has access to the tokens deposited in the payment channel smart contract, a Ryan balance proof is as binding as an on-chain transaction. So yeah, so it's like replacing, it's replacing that blockchain transfer by doing its own transfer within itself. So my people say, oh, isn't that really hogging down the network if you're adding another step to it? But Ryan is trying to create a way that it replaces the other type of transaction in a faster manner with its own properties. So it's interesting. We'll see how it plays out when it comes out. But if this is true, if what they're claiming is true, once we see it in action, then it could be a very powerful thing. Especially because they're claiming it's gonna be anonymous and it's not gonna be shown on a digital ledger. So I would like to see how government organizations also react to that. The true strength of Ryan lies in its network protocol. Since opening and closing a payment channel between two peers still requires on-chain transactions, creating channels between all possible peers becomes infeasible. As it turns out, however, you do not need a direct payment channel between a payer and a payee if there exists at least one route through a network of channels that connects the two parties, as shown in Figure 2. The network and its associated protocol for routing and interlocking channels transfers is called the Ryan network. In addition, payment channel transfers, in contrast to on-chain transactions, do not require any fees. Intermediaries within the greater network, however, will grant to charge fees on a low percentage basis for providing their own channels to the network, leading to complex routing competitive channel fee market. The Ryan protocol aims to facilitate this market by using both protocol level features and optional auxiliary services. Okay, so this might have lost some people here, and yeah, this is kind of complex. But the best way I could explain it is Ethereum has its own process of doing these transactions. Basically, the Ryan network wants to be another subsection to the Ethereum network. So another way I could view it as, we're going to use the mall analogy, right? So Ethereum, being the network, is the mall. You have the tokens, specific tokens being stores within the mall. But you can view the Ryan network, right? So you could view the Ryan network as another subsection of the mall, right? Maybe, how am I gonna say this? Maybe like okay, we could view like you have the mall and then you have the food mall within it, right? The food section of the mall, right? Maybe that operates on different methods of interaction, because the mall might have one set of rules and maybe this other subsection of the mall operates in different ones, but they're still operating in the same space. So it's one level on top. So Ethereum has these rules, right? And the Ryan network's like, all right, we're going to take these rules and we're going to operate in our own way, but we're still using the underlying basis of the Ethereum network. So it's very interesting, because what that means is So if you're a creator of a specific token for your business, maybe you want to have a little more customizable features on it, or you want to do, you don't like how the fees are operating, you want to do a different type of thing, and you see that the Riot Network has more benefits, you're like, all right, screw it, I'll build it on top of the Riot Network instead of just the regular vanilla Ethereum. So let's read the benefits, or they're claiming the benefits. Any transaction on the Ethereum blockchain comes at the cost depending on the transaction's required computational resources. Accordingly, fees are largely independent of the actual amount of value transferred, be it ERC20 tokens or Ether itself. This makes on transactions best suited for medium to large value transfers, but less so far on the scale of a few dollars or even fractions of a cent. It does not matter whether a transfer is sent in one piece or split over thousands of micropayments. Hardly any transfer is too small to be sent efficiently over the Riot Network. Riot transfers are also instant, in the sense that as soon as you receive an off-chain Riot transfer, you can rest assured that transfer value now belongs to you. In contrast, confirmation of on-chain transfers, depending on block time and time it takes miners to pick up your transactions from the pool of pending transactions. Instead of waiting for the next blocks to confirm a transaction, with Riot transfers, you can send, receive, and confirm transfers as fast as sending a chat message over the internet. Next to fees, blockchains also have another inherent problem that Riot helps to solve: scalability. Like I said before, capacity of most of the current blockchains is capped at a fixed or semi-fixed limit, regardless of the size or of the user base. In smart contracts, capacity of the Riot Network scales linearly with the number of users, leading to an efficient and future-proof decentralized transfer network. Okay, these are all great benefits if they get back what they claim. So one line here that stuck out to me, this makes on-chain transactions best suit for medium to large value transfers. Any transaction of the Ethereum blockchain comes at cost of paying out transfers required. Okay. Oh, okay. So no, this is what they meant. So they meant that for the first paragraph of the benefits of Riot Network, they're saying for the on-chain. So the Riot they're claiming off-chain, and Ethereum is on-chain. So that's the language that they're using. So on-chain Riot, on-chain on just regular Ethereum network is saying that because of the fees and how it's operated, small micro payments are just not that feasible. If you're saying a lot of money or small money, Riot wants to assure that it's good, that it's low cost. So smaller businesses, or if you're trying to just send money or something like that, it's more efficient to use the Riot network rather than the regular Ethereum blockchain. So, and yeah, so they're also saying in that next section, it does not matter whether a transfer is sent in either one piece or split over thousands of micropayments. Hardly any transfer is too small or to be sent efficiently over the Riot network. Okay, so yeah, that's awesome. And they're also claiming that it's instant, like a chat, which is great. Yeah, instant is always awesome. You know, a huge problem with Bitcoin is that it takes a long time, minutes, to get your confirmation. So from that aspect, even if it adopts the Lightning Network, so that might be one fork down the line, or yeah. So even they adopt the Lightning Network in the future, I don't think Bitcoin will get to the point, especially because of the pricing and its scalability, that it would be used a day-to-day currency per se. So I would see Litecoin more so being in that realm of using, Litecoin would be the more feasible solution to that problem rather than Bitcoin. So like in the old days, you use gold as a store of wealth, and it was so expensive that for most transactions, if you're a guy living like 1,000 years ago, you're not going to be buying groceries day to day, or like just a regular food day to day with gold primarily. Silver historically used that function. That's why people say Bitcoin is like the gold standard, and I say Litecoin is probably the silver standard within that respect. But with the Ryan network, if it's really that quickly, you could probably just send Ether or other tokens based upon it, just instantaneously, which is awesome. You know, that could be used for day-to-day transactions, rather than like people now just using Bitcoin to buy houses or Lamborghinis or whatever, or cars, because, you know, people are gonna be waiting those 5 to 10 minutes to get their transaction done. Because the way it works, like they're saying here, is that for Ethereum or a lot of their blockchain-based applications, they take time because the way the blocks work, it needs to confirm that the block is being the block needs to be confirmed in order for the transaction to go through. But let's see the limitations, like they say in the next paragraph. The answer to the question of whether you should use a Ryan token transfer rather than an on-chain transaction is actually just this: why not? There are, however, use cases where an on-chain transaction is a significantly better choice than a Ryan transfer. So they're saying, yeah, on-chain being a regular base vanilla Ethereum rather than the off-chain Ryan transfer. Ryan transfers require some of your tokens to be locked up in the smart contract for the lifetime of the payment channel. Similarly to only withdrawing small amounts of money from an ATM, you would not want to lock up too much value in a payment channel. Once you withdraw money from an ATM, you cannot use it for anything else, like in online payments or wire transfers. Likewise, and since each participant in the network will likely have multiple channels open at the same time, payment channel deposits are expected to be comparatively small, making it difficult to transfer a large amount of tokens over the channel of network of channels. Okay, that's interesting. Large value transfers should still be performed on the blockchain itself to save the extra cost of channel lifetime management and to avoid the need of routing through mostly inadequately equipped payment channels. Okay, so one thing that they're basically saying here is that, yeah, so in the lifetime of that contract, I don't know, it could be either like a minute, 5 minutes, it could be an hour or a week, depending on it. So your money is going to be locked, obviously, because it's within that network. And once you hit execute, it's executed. And since each participant in the network will likely have multiple channels open at the same time, payment channel deposits are expected to be comparatively small, making it difficult to transfer a large amount of tokens over the network of channels. So maybe they're saying that the Ryan network, the way that it's built, it's meant to be more of a micro transaction type of thing or a micro payment type of thing. So if we're going to try to send a lot of tokens over it, it might be slower. So that's kind of vague in my opinion. Yeah, so that's kind of vague in my opinion. I definitely have to look more into that. That's one section I definitely want to look into more in the future. Large value transfers should be performed on blockchain itself to save extra costs of channel lifetime management, to avoid the need for routing through most inadequately equipped payment channels. So perform on blockchain. I wonder if that's more of a security thing. Large value transfers should be performed on blockchain itself to save extra costs of channel lifetime management and to avoid the need for routing through mostly inadequately equipped payment channels. Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna look more into that in the future. That's one part to me that's kind of like itchy. I'm like, what do they mean channel lifetime management? Is that like, oh, okay, channel lifetime management. Okay, so, okay, it just clicked for me. So we're talking about channel lifetime management. So when I guess the cost of fees. So if you're saying a lot of tokens and depending on the length of the smart contract, so I wonder how the Ryan network determines what the fees are. So if you're saying a lot of money, if it's a huge project, and maybe we'll say the smart contract's open for a month, maybe the fees will be a lot higher in that respect. So it favors more of smaller micro payments. So a larger transaction in that respect would be more beneficial for smaller transactions rather than bigger ones. So yeah, that makes more sense now. The more I'm thinking about it, and to avoid the need for routing through mostly inadequately equipped payment channels. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So let's see how it works, which I kind of explained before, but let's see their detailed response. The life cycle of a Ryan channel. In order to ensure the participants pay their debts, tokens have to be locked up as a security in a smart contract for the lifetime of the payment channel. completely logical, makes sense from the way it's operated. This deposit ensures that tokens can only be used for to send and receive tokens to and from the channel partner until the channel is finally closed by either participant, preventing both from double spending their tokens to other peers. The process of managing the Orion channel is shown in Figure 3. We'll look into that. Once a channel is created, participants may issue what can be considered certified checks freely back and forth. Instead of keeping track of all checks, however, each peer only keeps a copy of the latest one. The balance proof contains the final sum of all Orion transfers sent to a participant up to a certain point, digitally signed by the sender. Since each channel has 2 participants, it always maintains 2 of those, and together they are essentially the channel's bar tab, if you will. Multiple credits are exchanged back and forth, changing the total amount owed between the participants, possibly even rebalancing the channel many times in the process. So let's look at this image. Okay, so balance proof, balance settle, ERC secured by timeout, balance proof. Okay, so we see the ERC20 tokens here. And I'm trying to see balance proof. Okay, yeah, so this is interesting. So basically, from what I gather from this image is that these are the actual tokens. Lifecycle finally when a party decides. Okay, so from what I'm gathering from this overall, without going to each step, it's basically you have 2 parties trying to come together for a smart contract through this channel of sorts, right? So they could say, all right, maybe I need to work on. So you want to hire someone to work on a specific thing, right? So you give them this, you give them your tokens, and they work on a certain project. And maybe that's not enough for the specific project, so you keep the channel open until you come to a consensus saying the project's done. So that's when you close the channel. So it would have to be verified through each party. So which is awesome. Which the Ethereum network already does that, but their focus is more on just like micro payments. From what I get from this actual from their actual white paper, if you want to call this a white paper. So very interesting. Finally, when one party decides to sell the balance on the blockchain, either to claim or pay their outstanding balance, they could choose to close the channel anytime, close the channel at any time by presenting their balance proof of choice to the smart contract. The other participant, the one that did not choose to close the channel, must not present a balance proof of their own or do nothing if they receive no transfers. After both parties have submitted their balance proofs, they may now withdraw their deposits. This withdrawal may be triggered by anyone, including addresses other than the 2 participants. Okay. If the second participant fails to present their balance proof in time, balances will be distributed according to their closing participant's proof, assuming that the other participant has not received any transfers. This way, Ryan asserts that each payment channel participant always has access to their funds. Okay, this makes a little bit more sense now, because you could see here like the balance proof. So, okay, this makes a little bit more sense now. So it's saying, okay, each one sends their balance proof and it's checked into the secured by timeout. Okay. I guess each party is A or B. So each party, they have their ERC tokens, they come together and they're in this, they have the contract and it executes into the blockchain. Each party here has their ERC tokens. Oh no, it goes down. Oh, okay. So these are 2 routes it could take. This is what I'm getting from it. So you have the ERC tokens, it could go into the contract, go out. This is normal Ethereum. What I'm seeing here, if you see my cursor here, okay, this makes more sense now because I'm like, how's this operating? Because the way it's flowing. But here you have party A and party B. They have their ERC20 tokens. This is on the normal Ethereum on-chain blockchain, right? They have their smart contract, it executes, goes up, it goes back in the blockchain. That's how it works. Or with this dotted line, from what I'm getting, they get their balance proof, they have their ERC tokens, another balance proof, and they go down. Okay, so that makes a little bit more sense. Okay. Okay, let's go down. We got the overall gist of it, which is the main thing that we needed. So Let's go down to privacy. Since most of the Ryan protocol is performed off-chain, transfers are largely private. Channel balances are hidden from the public until participants settle and withdraw their funds, and the net channel balance is revealed. When they do, however, channel balances may have already been obfuscated by other intermediary transfers that pass through this and other channels connected to the same nodes, making it extremely difficult to trace back on-chain transactions to off-chain Ryan transfers. Users might even offer paid services to artificially rebalance and obfuscate channel balances in order to increase the level of privacy. On the messaging layer, Ryan will make sure to perfect traffic and sensitive data transmitted over the network. The message service will hide participants' IP addresses from the public, preventing arbitrary nodes from being subjugated to DOS attacks. Additionally, pre-computed routes may use an onion routing protocol where intermediary nodes participating in a transfer have no way of knowing the target address of the Ryan transfer. The protocol only reveals the next channel in the route to each participant. Wow, okay, so I didn't know it used onion routing protocols, which is awesome. That's really cool, actually. So from the get-go, once the channel is done, that's when it's public. But if you I don't want to use the word manipulate, if you bring back, I guess, your deposits back to where it was by the end of the chain, let me use their actual words. Users might either offer paid services to artificially rebalance and obfuscate channel balances in order to increase the level of privacy. So yeah, there's other ways to do it within its own. So while the channel's open, right, everything between is private until it ends, then it becomes public. But once that happens, is that before it ends, you could do a paid service to bring the numbers back to normal, if I'm getting that correctly. Because I've never seen this in action, so I gotta see to actually see how it operates. But I guess regardless from that, if you could use an onion routing protocol, that's awesome. And if the messaging service will hide participants' IP addresses, which is always awesome for DOS attacks and other type of malicious activity. Okay, yeah, that's cool. I like it. So that's awesome. Actually, this is gonna be big for Ethereum. Definitely, because I've heard about Ryan before. I didn't go too depth with it before. Definitely got to do more research on it. But yeah, this is awesome. I love it. Conclusion: the Ryan network uses bidirectional token payment, like we saw in the diagram before. Channels to connect participants directly with each other. On top of that, it provides a protocol to relay token transfers through routes of channels to make use of the natural channel network topology. Rather than attempt to connect each and every participant directly, multi-hop transfers are secured using cryptographic hash locks to ensure that a mediated transfer either succeeds or is rejected entirely by all participants. The Ryan network aims to use the above technology to provide near-instant, low-fee, scalable, and privacy-preserving payments based on Ethereum ERC tokens and to extend current on-chain limitations. Okay, yeah, well, that's Ryan for you. Very cool. So let's check out their token before we move on to the next segment. How long have we been on live for? Okay, so right now Ethereum, the Ryan token is 0.01 basically of an Ethereum. Ethereum sent to auction 32,000 Ethereum. Wow. So the latest auction will end on November 12th. Definitely one to keep an eye out for. It's probably gonna pump and dump like every other fucking token, but excuse my language, but every other token, but it's gonna. I think Ryan will do well. There's been a lot of hype behind Ryan for sure, because it's gonna. the biggest thing Ethereum has an issue with is scalability, hands down. Ethereum's scalability is probably its biggest hurdle, and with it being the second largest, basically the second largest coin out there, or whatever you want to call crypto out there, it's got issues because it's got to come to consensus. But if you build an off-chain block, or you build an off-chain system that runs parallel to block, not parallel, that runs on a limb of Ethereum, then it could be a very powerful tool. And who knows, maybe if Raiden's that powerful, then most tokens will be built off of Raiden too. So Raiden will be integrated basically just a 1-to-1 layer, or close to a 1-to-1 ratio layer on top of the Ethereum foundation. When I say foundation, I mean like foundation, not the actual Ethereum foundation. Yeah, very interesting. We should move on. What's the next thing? Yeah, we have a lot to talk about because we have to get to Neo. Neo's big too, and we have to talk about EOS. And EOS is its own monster. Not in a good way. There's still a lot of speculation behind EOS out of any other. If you compare it to Ethereum and Neo, because EOS is not even operational yet. So. But there's been a lot of hype behind it because the guy that was behind EOS was behind Steemit. If people are aware of Steemit, it's been around for a while, and BitShares. But like this guy just the architect. I forgot the name of the architect behind it. But what the guy basically does is he has the idea, he builds it up, he gives it to like the people that are going to maintain it, and moves on to the next project. So he's been Steam's decent. It's got some problems too, but we'll get to more of we'll have a different stream. I'll host a different stream that'll talk more about the social media, the new social media that's gonna come out of blockchain too, because I think that's all gonna be on blockchain. So there's gonna be a Twitter for blockchain and all that too. That's gonna be decentralized. There's gonna be no censorship, which is awesome because Twitter censors the hell out of a lot of people. And no one owns it, which is cool. So, okay, is there anything else on Raiden before we move on? Micropayments, we talked about that. Instant token swaps. Oh yeah, so yeah, it was talking about that. So basically, it could a decentralized exchange, which is the next step. Coben Hood. So maybe for upcoming live stream, I'll be talking about also about the future of exchanges, which I'll talk about economy. I'll be talking about Coben Hood. I'll probably be talking about the Raiden network too, because the way it works, it probably, yeah, it's from what Raiden's been explaining, it could be great for a decentralized application built on top of the Raiden network that could essentially be a decentralized exchange, which is awesome. Because there's a lot of problems with exchanges right now. Bitrex, Bitfinex, all these ones are just headaches, especially too because we all, depending on where you live, government regulation, all this garbage that's happening, pump and dumps, and just insider trading with pump and dumps, etc., etc. Because I got a little story as a segue before we get back to the rest of the Ethereum segment. So one of the first exchanges I signed up for was Poloniex. Love the format, love how it looks. When I was on Poloniex, they still had a troll box, which is funny because people just like screw around with each other and just talk about how one thing's going up and down, and people complain too. It's funny because one thing that Poloniex did was that screwed a lot of people over. There was a lot of hype behind Coin at the time. And Coin was basically the ticker is SC. If you guys want to check it out, it's SC. And what it claims to do is put cloud on a blockchain. So basically you have your data up there, decentralized, encrypted, awesome. And it's cheaper. I think their stuff's operational, and it's cheaper than Amazon Prime's storage option in iCloud, which is cool too because it's cheaper and it's not owned by any centralized entity. So it could be very malicious, I'm not gonna lie, but it's a tool. With any tool, you could either use it for good or you could use it for evil. It's up to the individual, but you can't blame the tool itself. But yeah, that could be governments could get involved with it, but that's a subject that's a whole different issue completely. But basically, going back to the point, when I was on Poloniex, a lot of people were complaining that they could not withdraw their Sia coin. And this is the thing. A lot of these companies or a lot of these exchanges, when we're trading on these exchanges, they're not recorded on the blockchain. So what happens is that if you have your tokens or your coins or whatever you have, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, Ether, Ripple, whatever you have on there, when you submit it, that's where a blockchain transfer happens. So it's listed on the blockchain. But once it's on there and you're trading, if you're a day trader, so you're saying, all right, I have my Bitcoin now, I want to get Ethereum with it. So, or Ether. So you get your Bitcoin, you get the Ether token. It's not recorded on the blockchain. It's only on recording the blockchain if you actually pull out the exchange. And that's the same case with if you're gonna have decentralized exchanges. But with a decentralized exchange, it's all computer driven. It's all through this program. It's not done through a central entity because at the end of the day, a central entity owns your private keys. They own all that, and there's people operating that. With a decentralized exchange, for the most part, their main goal is to be completely decentralized. Like Robinhood, that's going to release in like 2-3 weeks, I believe. At start, it's not going to be decentralized because the tech's not there yet. It's going to be starting off centralized. But their goal, it's on a blockchain, but their goal is that within, I think, what they claim, 6 months to a year, I believe it was, they want to keep it completely decentralized. So first it's centralized, then they'll make the jump to decentralization. Because right now there's no decentralized exchange. We're just not there yet. We're gonna get there. But Robinhood has been very public that they want to be completely decentralized, which I'm very happy for. But yeah, there's pump and dumps. They're not giving out their side coin. This guy, I remember there's one guy on the account because I was on it like all the time. And this guy was basically complaining, or there's multiple people saying, why can't I withdraw my side coin? Why can't I withdraw my side coin? And this was when the big Ripple hype happened, right after the big Ripple hype, people are like, oh, why is it when Ripple or Stellar, these centralized coins, why when they go up, the entire site just shuts down for hours on end? Why? Why do they do that? You know, why is it that when Ripple goes up, it shuts down? And like, because they're just malicious activity happening on these exchanges, or that's my suspicious belief because I have a critical mind. So it's like, why it's not, I don't believe it's a coincidence these things happen. You know, and when this was back in June, yeah, it was June when Ripple, well, it was April when Ripple went skyrocketing, but the hype of Ripple was extending into early summer. So yeah, so when Ripple's going up and it's 15-20%, it's 15% 15-20% highs, and then dropping back down, then the entire site will just go down. And it was just strictly Ripple. And a lot of people were like, oh, there must be some insider trading going around because without us accessing it, there's still action going on in the exchanges, and a lot of people couldn't get in, but it was still operational. So yeah, very suspicious stuff. So hopefully with decentralized exchanges, a lot of those issues will get removed down the line. So yeah, it's awesome stuff. And also too, if it's decentralized exchange, then what government entity can get involved? At the end of the day, right? It's on the internet. Who controls the actual internet? Nobody does. Yeah, they can exchange your access to the internet, which is a bottleneck to the internet, but they don't own the internet. And that's why one coin in particular called MadeSafe, if people are aware of MadeSafe, their goal is to create a completely decentralized internet. So outside the reach of any government, any entity on the planet, and you could be able to hook up to if you just put yourself into a jack. So they try and be an ISP too down the line, but that's a huge project all into itself. But from what I've seen, they have a good team. I know one of the guys behind it, so, or he's one of the main investors within its top 5. So it's been very bullish about that. So we'll see how that transpires in the future. But God, I hope that happens. If it does, it'd be a very big win for humanity. So let's move on to the next part, which is, okay, let me just take a quick puff out of this. Okay. Ethereum price struggles to recover beyond $300 despite hard fork. Okay, I'm not going to read this article. We've been reading a lot, but basically, okay, so basically, why isn't Ethereum going up, right? Why hasn't it been going up? Because Bitcoin, after every fork, there's been some weird stuff going on, but at the end of the day, it goes up higher. But Ethereum has been chilling around this $300 price. Like I've been saying before, Ethereum has its issues because of government regulation, the SEC breathing down its neck basically because of the ICO debacle, and it's very, very, Ethereum's in limbo. If I have to say anything, Ethereum's kind of in this limbo stage right now because it's once these governments have everything clear cut, because how Ethereum's operating in its legality is in a very big gray issue, is a very big gray area, and all cryptos are. Don't get me wrong, but Ethereum's more of a big issue because most governments are more scared of the ICO phenomenon too, because it hurts banks and their central banking system. Because the way startups work, it completely changes startups. It completely changes. It completely changes business overall. So if you're going to have this huge force come in blasting, then obviously these governments are going to be scared of it, and they want to have some tight grip over it too. And like I said before, we're going to get to the Putin article, his announcement about ICOs. But yeah, once this gets cleared up, and I think it will get cleared up within the next several months or so, hopefully by, I'm thinking maybe springtime, right? Once everything, the dust is settled, once Ethereum moves a proof of stake and goes through Serenity Clear, then Ethereum is just gonna boom. It's gonna boom like no other, especially when Riding comes live too. Ethereum's just gonna boom. I believe a lot of these tokens under it will boom also, but Ethereum will go up higher. The only thing that could stop Ethereum is if there's a huge hack on it. Like if there's a huge ICO hack that happens with the DAO and Ethereum and the whole consensus for Ethereum, because Ethereum's a lot bigger now than it was last year. So coming consensus together for a fork to stop a hack, if it will be a lot more difficult to do it. You know, we're just more complex now. We're more evolved. So if there's a big attack like that, it's going to be more difficult to respond to it, especially once again, how blockchain works. But once again, if you look at blockchain, also the paradox behind it is that Ethereum's a lot bigger now than it was last year. So it's going to be a lot more difficult to hack. So depending on the protocol, you know, so my computer science background, I'm not a genius level to decide to see if Ethereum's hackable. I'm just from a philosophical background. I think anything created by man could be destroyed by man, but protocol and software, right? Especially the way that these are created, it's going to take majority to do that. The consensus you have to have majority consensus in order to do it, unless they find some other crazy wave. They have some quantum computing that could hack it, but I do not believe so. It will happen. A lot of these coins, I believe, are future proof. I think Ethereum, for the most part, is future proof, but that's the one thing that's going to bring Ethereum down. It's going to be a big hack. Major institutions are behind it. We're going to go to the Ethereum Enterprise Alliance, and we're going to see all the members behind it, so I could show you what money and what companies are behind it, because right now there's some big players behind it. I've been covering it even before Major League Crypto. I've been saying like Samsung and other entities, they're fully behind Ethereum. So with their technological background, like Samsung, right? Like these entities, you're not stupid. They got big engineers, and they see like, all right, this is a safe bet. We're going to move our systems to that. Because when you see big companies too, because JP Morgan is part of the Ethereum Alliance, you know, a lot of people don't know that, but they are. So if they're going to start moving their systems over to a blockchain like Ethereum, then they would know that, okay, this blockchain is legit, you know, it does its purpose. So with that, I think it's secure. You know, when you have these big money coming in, they know what they're doing for the most part. They're going to hedge to the right system and to the right blockchain. If they go with Ethereum, then you know Ethereum's a solid choice. So yeah, let's move on to the next one. So yeah, overall Ethereum price struggles to recover beyond 300. I'm not worried about it. It's gonna boom. It just gotta go over these little hurdles of regulation and government intervention and some just token stuff. Once it gets past that, it's gonna boom. Okay, so we're gonna talk about proof of stake. This is the big thing. Proof of stake. This is what Ethereum's trying to accomplish. It's trying to move from proof of work to proof of stake. Basically, this changes the way the mining is done and mining energy consumption. Talking about pure coin, black coin. Okay, let's go down to Ether then. Since Blackcoin, there have been several iterations of proof of stake protocol. For example, BitShares, which was the guy behind EOS, was the guy behind BitShares. So BitShares was the first to implement delegated proof of stake. But the newest iteration of proof of stake, Ethereum's attempt at proof of stake. The motivation for Ethereum to switch is primarily the desire to move towards a more eco-friendly and decentralized system. If the Ethereum virtual machine is truly to be adopted worldwide, Bitcoin's current 6.7 million daily electricity costs will quickly be surpassed. So yeah, I said this before, Bitcoin, the way it works, right? Because you need so much money to operate for these mining, right? So for the long term, especially how Ethereum deals with smart contracts, it needs a more energy efficient way for operating mining in order to keep this smart contract system going, to keep its ecosystem going. So yeah, Ethereum's proof of system will implement Byzantine fault tolerance style proof of stake. Okay, Byzantine fault tolerance. Basically, that's a computer software system. It's about like, what was the thing behind Byzantine fault tolerance? So basically, you have what was supposed to be two generals, and they're giving a messenger. They're giving a messenger a message to give to invade an enemy's fortress. And basically how their interactions are supposed to come to a consensus that a certain day they're going to invade. So that's like a common problem in computer software, for computer software security, which overall blockchain is supposed to solve that problem. But I guess they're more focusing on that. Validators will be randomly assigned block rewards. However, consensus is formed through a multi-round process where every validator votes for a chain. Ethereum is not utilizing proof of stake at the moment, and there have been doubts as whether or not it will actually be implemented. They are pushing for it. So this is a little bit of an older article. When was this? Oh, October 15th. So yeah, this was last week. They're pushing for it. They want it. Ethereum, the Ethereum Foundation, the Ethereum Alliance, they want proof of stake. It will make everything a lot more easier for them, less headaches. So let's go down to the 4 issues involved with proof of stake distribution. Ethereum has already been distributed with approximately 70% sold in its ICO in 2014, representing 70% of the total Ethereum circulation. 11 million was given to the Ethereum Foundation and continues its distribution via proof of work. Okay. Monopolization. Ethereum has already been distributed. Another way Ethereum hopes to solve this issue is by locking coins in a smart contract in order to stake. Therefore, staking comes at a cost of liquidity. 51% tax. As mentioned above, it is incredibly costly to buy a bribe nodes to participate in a 51% attack. Should an attack happen, Michael Gubick proposes utilizing social business exchange forms to select one of the 4 chains in his proof of stake FAQ on Ethereum's GitHub. Nothing at stake. Validators will be de-incentivized from signing orphan blockchains as they will be punished. Okay, so orphan blockchains, there's different types of blocks, right? When you're looking at blockchain, you have the Genesis block, which is the first block. You have the main chain. Then you have when you see like images of a blockchain, they're bouncing out with like little nodes popping out. So an orphan block is basically when a chain goes off to a certain point and the end of that one chain, and nothing spurts from the end chain. So basically they're saying if they move to a proof of stake system, it'll de-incentivize miners to continue mining. So there'll be less support for Ethereum. And yeah, there's the attacks, like I was saying before. There the possibilities of Ethereum getting hacked. This is a lot of programmers are coming to have come together that say that might be a possibility. That's the reason why I said that's the #1 problem with Ethereum, and also the liquidity, the scalability and the liquidity of Ethereum might come to play. So it's a very we have to go cautiously through Ethereum, but overall, like I said before, there's enough support behind it by major people that everything's gonna go through without a hitch. But it's to wait and see. Like anything else, like everything else with crypto, we have to analyze things day by day, hour by hour. Things change all the time, at every second. It's very difficult to keep in check of everything that's gonna go on. That's why my goal is to live stream every day to go over all the news, trying to see where everything's at, so we can see a good macro and also micro, and now a micro viewpoint of everything that's happening. So yeah, proof of stake, it has its benefits, it has its negatives, but in order to move forward, the philosophy behind it is like, in order to move forward with smart contracts, because that's Ethereum's main strength. It's not trying to be just a cryptocurrency. It's trying to be a center for smart contracts and other tokens. The benefits outweigh the negatives for proof of stake. So every crypto has a roadmap, right? A roadmap means that the development team of that certain crypto, right, they have a roadmap, which means like, we want to hit this goal by this time, like Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 of a certain year, and they're like, okay, we want to implement this. So the Ethereum Foundation has already said that we're going to go through all these different forks to try to get to the goal of proof of stake. So they've been wanting to go proof of stake for a while now. So with that, they must have been thinking for a long time, because everything is on the line here. If this fails, Ethereum will fall, right? And Neo or EOS or any other future competing smart contracts less ecosystem based crypto will make it. But like I've been saying before, even with all this risk involved, the people involved in the space are very knowledgeable. I think they know what they're doing. A very good sign is that the recent Byzantium and what was the other one? Byzantium and Constantinople forks went through without a hitch. So everything's looking good so far. So yeah, let's move on, because we're spending too much time on Ethereum. We have to get to other subjects. Okay, yeah, so like I was saying before, I found this from this article, Ethereum hard forks timeline. So Ice Age, this was the beginning, right? September 2015, no split, Homestead. So Ice Age was that fork, or that system being implemented. There was no split. The Homestead, there was no split. So we're getting into the DAO. This was the ICO I was talking about that happened last summer, last July. And this is what happened. There was the hack on this, right? So this is when the split happened. This was big. This was a big event that happened. A lot of people were scared. There was 4 forks that happened within basically a month to ensure that the Ethereum blockchain was secure and there was no security, and they could get back some of the lost tokens. So the DAO split happened, and the old chain that was compromised is called Ethereum Classic. Okay, Ethereum Classic right here. So basically the blockchain, as you could see, it went from this Ice Age, it went down, the DAO happened, and the chain split. So now the Ethereum Classic is basically that original Ethereum, and it's trotting along, but people know this isn't the real Ethereum. When it's split from DAO into the Tangerine Whistle, then this claimed to be the real Ethereum. Now this is the real Ethereum. So this Tangerine Whistle, which happened after July, there was these forks that happened. It split off. Tangerine Whistle was implemented October 2016. Give me a moment here, sorry. Okay, so the Tangerine Whistle happened. There was no split. There's consensus. We move on. There's a Spurious Dragon in November. No split. We moved on. So now they're talking about Metropolis. Metropolis already happened. There was very small chance of split because everyone reached consensus. There wasn't that much arguments within the discussion of these developers and these miners. Everything looked good, so we moved on. So now what we're going to is Serenity Proof of Stake. This is the big one, everyone. This is the big one. Everything goes through here without a split, then we're good. Then Ethereum, it will be bullish after this. Everything's still looking good with Serenity. Nothing, as of right now, everything's good. So this is bullish. So yeah, this is just an overall timeline of what's happening. So right now where we're at, we're right here. We're right here. Is it going to happen in 2017? That'll be good if it can happen by the end of the year, but we'll see. So that's a theory. Okay, yeah. One last thing before we move on. Before we move on to Neo, let's go over everything, every corporation and company that's part of the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. Okay, this is where you're going to get a lot. You're going to see who's going to be a part of it. Okay, let's go over this. Accenture, Access. Okay, let's go over the really interesting ones. Andu, Chinese. So you do have Chinese and Eastern based companies being a part of it too, because everyone wants to get a piece of the pie. Antibiotic Research UK. Trying to get over the ones that pop out. So a lot of these are also cryptos. So Bancor is a crypto. You got some banks in here. You got some blockchain was a development company. BBVA, Block.io, Block Apps. So these are blockchain that are part of it. But then look at this. Look what you have. You have BP here. BrainBot Technologies. You have Centra, Cisco. These are, I mean, dude, BP, Cisco. These are big people. BBVA, CME Group. Come on, like these are all big people. Cost.io. This is another blockchain. Credit Suisse. I mean, this is big money we're talking about, and it's all the West. This is all the West. Yeah, there's some Eastern companies, like I said before, but it's primarily dominated by the West, Western institution. Dapps.ai, which is just another decentralized application company. Dash, which is another major big crypto. Deloitte, Western institution. Fubon Financial, which is a big Eastern player, they're dipping their toes in. IDFPR. I'm from Illinois. I'm from Chicago, so I'm not sure if I'm very happy about this, but you know, our entire Illinois institution is complete. All of our Illinois regulators and just everything involved with Illinois right now is pretty much screwed. But you know, what are you gonna do? iExec, I believe this is the competitor to Golem and Elastic. So I guess they're involved with Ethereum, because I believe iExec is a token. It's a token of Ethereum, which Golem and Elastic are too. So we'll see how those, which I'm definitely gonna make a competing of iExec, Golem, and Elastic in the future, because they're all, what their goals are is basically they're basically transferring computational power over the internet to a given computer, which I think that's also part of the future. So that could be very interesting for the future. Yeah. So what we're gonna go to next is ING, big institution. Intel, no explanation needed. Oh, look at this. It's our good friends JP Morgan. So, like I was saying before, JP Morgan is involved. So, you know, you got some big money here. You got some big players. So yeah, that's why I think Ethereum will do well. You know, because I don't think these institutions would put their information on a blockchain that could be easily exploited, or else they would have built their own. But I don't even think actually they were equipped to build their own. But I think one of their blockchains last year, 2 years ago, completely failed because no one wanted to put their money into it. Who else do we have? Lunar, Matter, MasterCard, big player. Which means if MasterCard's part of the Ethereum Alliance, which when I went over the news yesterday, that means that means you will have ERC20 or ERC21 tokens that might be able to be converted straight into fiat and be used anywhere in US or Europe or anywhere across the world. Which to me, I hope that's the goal. You know, until, well, I hope MasterCard dies, and along with Visa and all those people. Until we're in a system in the future that everything is decentralized and blockchain based, so we won't need all these legacy companies around. So, but once again, these companies are trying to run their systems parallel or absorb these new blockchain ecosystems and cryptocurrencies, because they're trying to transition into the new system. But what they don't know is, by the nature of cryptocurrencies, there's no place for them in the new system, because it's completely going to be self-reliant on us and self-responsibility. So that's my personal belief within that. So, but still, it's bullish. If MasterCard's involved, it's bullish. Microsoft, no explanation needed, bullish. Maybe they'll have their systems, Windows OS in the future, being implemented with something that could be linked to Ethereum. Or they'll build applications under their Windows store that could be equipped with Ethereum. But yeah, I think when Ethereum jumped last summer, right, when it jumped from $6, $7, when it went to an all-time new high, a lot of that was because Microsoft sent representatives to some blockchain conferences that Ethereum Alliance hosted. So that's where the big buzz came about, was when Microsoft came into the space. Yeah, and once again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat box above, and I'll definitely talk about it before we move on for Ethereum. Yeah, before we move on from Ethereum, if you guys have any questions, now's the time while I'm going over these companies before we move on to Neo, so I can answer any lingering questions you guys have. Musiccoin, not a big fan of it, but hey, there's a lot of these random blockchain-based companies on here. National Bank of Canada, they had their issues months ago too with the ATM issue. So once again, they might be doing this because of liquidity. Who knows? Thomson Reuters, of course. I think, doesn't Reuters sponsor CoinDesk? I think they do. Samsung, huge. Who knows? Samsung might have specific chips installed in their phones in the future for strictly for cryptocurrency usage. Scotiabank. Smart Contract Japan. So yeah, these institutions are coming up with smart contracts in Japan. So once again, and there's a rumor, because, okay, I don't know if you guys heard of Factum, right? There was this Japanese article, right? People translate from Japanese to English that basically said that the social security system of Japan, because it's very big, because Japan has a very big aging population, that they're gonna put their entire social security information and settlements onto a blockchain, and they chose Factum as that. I don't know if that's completely true. There's only been one source of that information, which is from some Japanese site, which I can't read Japanese. I can only do is like a basic Google Translate, and I'm not aware of the reliable Japanese news sites. But if that's true too, that's bullish for any smart contract based system. What else is big? Okay, 10x, awesome. Yeah, 10x is a token. They're the guys trying to create their own credit card and payment system. They've had their struggles, like I said from the last live stream. They had their struggles with gang coming into the U.S. because the U.S. government could, and they basically, I think they warned them, saying you're basically competing with the U.S. dollar in the US, which is a big no-no. You're not supposed to do that. But 10x said that they want to have the US card operational within a year, which if that's viable and that happens, I'm all for it, because I don't want to be involved with any bank. So if I could pay for my rents and I could pay for anything, rents, payments through 10x, I'd rather do that than anything else. UBS. Anything else? I don't know what that lunch bag is, but that's a funny logo. Yeah, so as we can see here, there's some very, very big players. Anyone? Okay. So it looks like we don't have any questions. So we're gonna move on to Neo. Okay, this site's gonna take forever because it's running some crazy animation, and most of my computing power is running this broadcasting software I have on. So I apologize for that. Okay, we're gonna say screw this actual website. I already have the white paper pulled up in the next tab. This is gonna take forever if we run on the site. Or, okay. Try to see if there's anything here. Okay, we're gonna get this roadmap in the future. Not in the future, I mean shortly. I'm just trying to get down to their actual development team. Okay, look at these guys, right? They're clearly Chinese. This is the Chinese Ethereum people. And with China announcing with the huge 19th People's Congress that just happened, Xi Jinping announced basically that the One Belt One Road is good to go. The biggest infrastructure project the world has ever seen, and the goal is to create basically a Silk Road between Beijing to Berlin. And these are the heads of Neo. They're gonna. This is it. This is the future, people. That's what I'm saying. Is Neo gonna be the center for it? I think so. I think Neo is gonna be really, really big in the future. The gains are going to be unreal, especially when the One Belt One Road comes up, and every new business that's going to be made in like Uzbekistan, these random nations in between that have never been really modernized in the 21st century are going to be. This is going to be huge. What else was I going to say? Yeah, Uzbekistan, these other random nations, India, Iran, Egypt. Yeah, so all these nations are going to be involved, and they're all going to be using these blockchains because most of these people are unbanked, so they're not going to be signing up to UBS or any of these other entities. They're going to have crypto. I think China is really pushing crypto hard. It's what if you hear that they're against Bitcoin? China's not against Bitcoin. It's bullshit. Don't believe it. If they're against, yeah, they're regulating ICOs, but every government entity. If you look at the function of a government, right? Government has to regulate. They have to put their nation's interests first, and they cannot have literally a debilitating. It's not debilitating because you have to view from because currency at the end of the day, money economy is psychological and it's philosophical. So and governments need to regulate things because if we just accept blockchain outright right now, right? If we just kill our system now, we just accept all blockchain, everything would collapse. So there has to be a point that we could transition into something, and you're going to need some governments stepping in. Yeah, some governments are going to be more malicious about it. Some of them are going to be better. Am I going to agree everything that China is going to do? No, of course not. Am I going to agree everything Russia is going to do? No, of course not. But I think their approach to the situation, to the whole cryptocurrency phenomenon, is a lot more healthy than what the West is doing, like the US and Europe. Europe's a little bit better than the US. I think the US has been the worst offender so far. Outright just bashing it left and right. But yeah, China, I think, has been trying to embrace it the most alongside Russia. Actually, Russia right now has been pushing for it the most. At least we're taking action the most. I don't know behind the scenes, we don't know. But out in the open, Russia has been number one. Then behind that has been China. So yeah, these are the team members. I don't know their backgrounds, but from what they've been doing, overall, what Neo's been doing. Oh yeah, if you guys didn't know, Neo was known formerly as Ant Shares. So if you guys know what Ant Share was, Neo is the new name of Ant Shares. So they just had a huge rebranding phase because Ant Shares was just weird. It was like a picture of like a blue comic ant with like weird ears and stuff. It was just not. it was just not like a professional business type of thing. So, and I could barely run this roadmap because my computer is so slow now from this OBS software. Okay, like you can see here, right? You guys see this? New AntShares brand strategy. So this was June of 2017 and July. This July, AntShares rebranded themselves as Neo. So yeah, that was a very big move. Okay, timeline wrote new Neo website. Yeah, so they don't have anything, I guess, because I can't. Let's go up and come on. Okay, so I can't click on 2018. But the last thing I guess it said was from what I saw it was they came out with this new website. Yeah, so that's it for this website. Let's go through a white paper now. Let's take a look, see what they do differently from Ethereum. What's their main strength? What they want. So this is on their website. This is like they have an English version. They have it in Chinese, Japanese, English, Spanish. I wonder this is a different form of Chinese. That's Korean for sure. Dutch and Netherlands. Okay, so yeah, let's take a look at this. Okay, Neo is used to the blockchain technology and digital identity to digitize assets. Okay, that's big. Okay, digitize assets is a little bit different. Technically, Ethereum could digitize assets in form of tokens, but that's like not like their main goal. I think Ethereum, if you look at the way it's written, right, because we have to look at language at the same time. The way that Ethereum is written, I think, is more for transactions rather than digitizing the actual assets. While Neo's main goal, it looks like, is to build a smart economy. So it's not just the ecosystem, they're looking at economy. So the vision of Neo is a little bit different. They want to digitize assets. They use the smart contracts for digital assets to be self-managed to achieve smart economy with a distributed network. Because look at China's goal, right? They're trying to build a brand new global economy that will probably run the world for the next 100 years, you know? So it's like, okay, we got to take all these assets, right? Because we're moving into like this new age, a new digital age, right? So we're going to take all these assets and digitize them. So yeah, it's very exciting. Digital assets are programmable assets that exist in the form of electronic data. With blockchain technology, the digitization of assets can be decentralized, trustful, traceable, highly transparent, and free of intermediaries. Once again, without a middleman. They're just wording a little bit different from Ethereum. On the Neo blockchain, users are able to register, trade, and circulate multiple types of assets. Proving the connection between digital and physical assets is possible through digital identity. Assets registered through a validated digital identity are protected by law. Okay, by law. Okay, that's weird. Okay, so law meaning, is it Chinese law? Or is it law by the way the protocol is written? So I'm assuming it's Chinese law by makes... I guess it's not need. It doesn't need to be said that it's going to be protected by the protocol, because software can only operate from how it is written by the programmer. Neo has two forms of digital assets: global assets and contract assets. Global assets can be recorded in the system space and can be identified by all smart contracts and clients. Contract assets are recorded in the private storage area of the smart contract and require compatible client to reorganize them. Contract assets can adhere to certain standards in order to achieve compatibility with most clients. Okay. So yeah, I guess there's just two ways of going at it. One's more of a public space, one's more of a private storage area. So I guess the way you could approach them depending on the business, because maybe one type of business would see more benefits in the global asset, while other one sees more of a contract asset. So once again, there's not been a lot of use cases for it, but they've been building. I know for a fact Neo has been building very strongly. They're meaning business, so it's just we got to see more use cases, and within the next year, like with Ethereum and Neo, we're going to see a lot more use cases, see how it actually operates in the market. But as of right now, we don't have that much use cases for it. But once again, digitizing assets, huge. So when you're building, when basically all these nations are going to be modernizing, like India, parts of Africa, because look at this, a One Belt One Road is not just Asia, it's Africa too. The most eastern part of Africa, if you look at the roadmap of the One Belt One Road, they're going to hit all the eastern parts of all the eastern parts of Africa, leading up to Egypt, and it's going to connect to and it's going to connect its way to the actual Silk Road that's going to be built through Asia, connecting into Europe. So once again, all those assets needed to be built: roadways, trains, infrastructure, just all types of infrastructure. Because people don't know too, China has been doing huge infrastructure projects in in Africa. They've been coming in, they've been shipping thousands of workers there. They make deals with those governments of those African nations. You give us your assets, either your rare earth minerals or your rare earth minerals. You can give us your gold or your oil or whatever commodity it is or whatever asset it is, and we'll bring in our own labor and we'll build you a brand new infrastructure for your assets. And all those assets will be on the blockchain, and primarily probably through Neo. So yeah, digital identity. Digital identity refers to the identity information of individuals, organizations, and other entities that exist in electronic form. The more mature digital identity system is based on PKI, Public Key Infrastructure, X.509 standard. In Neo, we implement a set of X509 compatible digital identity standards. This set of digital identity standards, in addition to compatible X509 level certificate issuance model, will also support Web of Trust point-to-point certificate insurance model. Our verification of identity, when issuing or using digital identities include the use of facial features, fingerprint, voice, SMS, and other multi-factor authentication methods. At the same time, we will also use a blockchain to replace online certificate status protocol to manage and record X509 certificate revocation list, CRL. So yeah, you'll see these words OCSP and CRL a lot if you're analyzing white papers. So yeah, they just want to digitize identity too. I mean, this is basically, they're trying to make it, their line is smart economy, right? So smart economy, which is a new age of interaction of the global economy. People have to have their information laid out bare for the most part. If you want to operate in Neo, they're telling you straight up, if you want to operate in the space with the digitization of assets, we're going to make everything a standard and we're going to keep with it. Very powerful stuff. Okay, do we have anything else here? Sorry. Oh. Okay. So yeah, they're doing smart contractors where they're talking about Nick Szabo, who made in 1994. Yeah, smart contracts have been around for like 20 years. But the thing is, they weren't on a blockchain. So basically, they're going to support smart contracts too. So you see, if you see this term right here, right, Neo's Universal Lightweight Virtual Machine, Neo VM. So basically, this is like their version of the Ethereum virtual machine, the EVM. So yeah, smart contracts, basically parallel. It's you could reflect that with what Ethereum is doing. So basically, this is more talking about compilers, their development kit, what they support, what ways you could participate with Neo, web, Android, iOS, the standard, light node PC programs, full functioning full node PC programs, hardware wallets, SDK development kits, which is pretty standard for any type of ecosystem or application. Supports Java, Kotlin, .NET, C Hash, VB, JavaScript, TypeScript, Python, and Go. Smart contract compiler and IDE plugin, C Hash, VB.NET, F Hash, Visual Studio, Java, Kotlin, Eclipse, C, C++, Go, JavaScript, TypeScript, Python, and Ruby. So yeah, very compatible. A lot of people could program in this. A lot of people can compile in this. And let's see what decentralized applications they have now. Smart fund, AI assisted legal smart contract, social networking, automated tokens, liquidity providers, decentralized exchange. Once again, very similarly with what the Rhino network is trying to do. So I guess from the way that their programming language is set up, they could create a way that decentralized exchanges could be operated. Which, once again, if China is behind, they're very supportive of NEO, and they want control, why are they pushing so hard for decentralized exchange? You know, if they're listing right here in the goddamn white paper, you know, and China they love NEO, you know, never seen any FUD from China regarding NEO. So this is the biggest one in China. So we have to put that into consideration if we're looking at it from a geopolitical standpoint. Data exchange market, intellectual property trading market, prediction market, advertising market, hash power market, NEO gas market. Yeah, so I'm just saying here too. Economic model. NEO's two native tokens, NEO, abbreviated NEO, and NEO gas, abbreviated symbol gas. Most of the time you're going to see, if you're going to be trading the actual NEO token rather than gas. NEO has a total of 100 million tokens, represents the right to manage the network. Similarly with Ethereum, but let's see what their gas fuel token is, because this is the one that most people don't know. Gas is a fuel token for the realization of NEO network resource control with a maximum total limit of 100 million. The NEO storage charges for the operation and storage of tokens and smart contracts, thereby creating economic incentives for bookkeepers and preventing the abuse of resources. The minimum unit of gas is 0.000001, which is that 8? Yeah, so it's the same as Bitcoin, 8 decimal points back. So yeah, if we're going to compare this actual white paper, right? The actual white paper of NEO, for being such a newer coin or crypto, you want to say, rather than Ethereum, NEO, their actual white paper is a lot more put together than Ethereum's, because Ethereum's white paper has basically been pulled off because Vitalik Buterin basically made it before it was even like a thing, and it was made by one guy, so he's not going to have all this stuff on there, you know. So comparing it to Ethereum's white paper, you really can't, because all new cryptos basically have a white paper that's kind of listed in this format, right, with maybe an index on top. So when you're analyzing these things, these are things you got to look out for. And they have like this smart index bar over here, and Ethereum just doesn't have that. Yeah, but NEO, they're very organized. They're very straight to the point. Let's see here. What else can we talk about NEO gas before moving on to the next part? Gas is a fuel token. Okay, yeah, we said that. In the Genesis block, which the Genesis block is the first block of NEO. So Genesis block for blockchain is the first block created. 100 million NEOs are generated. Gas has not been generated. 100 million gas corresponding to the 100 million NEO will be generated through a decay algorithm in about 22 years' time to address holding NEO. If NEO is transferred to a new address, the subsequent gas generated will be credited to the new address. Okay, Ethereum doesn't have this. This is native to NEO. A decay algorithm, basically, from what the words imply, is that as NEO goes along over this course of how many years did they say, 22 years time, more gas is going to be generated, and it will be credited to the new addresses of each subsequent block. The NEO network will set a threshold by voting to exempt gas from a certain amount of transfer transactions and smart contract operations to enhance the user experience. When a large amount of spam transactions occur, NEO ID can be used to prioritize transactions and smart contracts with qualified identities. Transactions and smart contracts with no qualifying digital identities can get priority by paying gas. Interesting. Okay. So yeah, I'm just looking over to see what's, because You know, we've already almost been two hours through the stream, and we haven't gone to EOS yet, let alone talk about the rest of the news. So I'm gonna speed up Neo right now. I think we got the basic gist of it. Neo technology implementation, consensus mechanism. Okay, once again, delegated Byzantine fault tolerance. Remember we talked about that before with Ethereum. Basically, they're talking about how they reach consensus, and this is how they use it. They're talking about, okay, 15-20 seconds to generate a block. Pretty standard stuff here. Just like, this is like their little spin from it. So yeah, not all, because this is like a different blockchain from Ethereum. So what you have to realize is that they're going to have a slight variation in their coding, how they express their consensus mechanism for approaching the Byzantine fault tolerance problem. But relatively, they're basically, they're the same. So you don't have to worry about that. So yeah, smart contract system. So when we talk about Ethereum, we saw the term EVM, Ethereum virtual machine. That's how their smart contracts work. So their response to it, Neo's, is the Neo VM, Universal Blockchain Virtual Machine, which is their virtual machine to operate smart contracts, which is the main strength of these systems are the smart contracts. Okay, so here, cross-chain interoperability agreement. So the cross-chain assets exchange agreement. So basically, these are systems that they have that they can exchange assets because they're trying to digitize assets. So it's the logical conclusion is they would have something like this to make sure everything is in line and it's operable. And this would also derive that they would use this system for their decentralized exchange if one comes up in the future. Okay, this is pretty interesting right here. I was reading this before. Anti-quantum cryptography mechanism, NeoQS. The emergence of quantum computers poses a major challenge to RSA and ECC-based cryptographic mechanisms. Quantum computers can solve the large number of decomposition problems and the elliptic curve discrete logarithm in a very short time. NeoQS is a lattice-based cryptographic mechanism. So basically what they're saying here is that they're trying to have a system in place called NeoQS that would make quantum computing not a threat for hacking and damaging the blockchain. Which the thing is, most people don't know, even programmers don't know how quantum computing is going to affect blockchain if it's going to be able to hack it. But the thing is, a lot of these cryptographic hashes that were made basically by the CIA for privacy and security and et cetera. So they would probably have account quantum hacking into the equation. But then again, we just don't know. Is NeoQS, is it good? I don't know. We've never had a test case usage. If it could stop a quantum computing hack, we have no idea. But for them to approach the problem, this is either trying to give a semblance of security or it is actual security, but we just don't know. That's the issue. But hey, it's good to have, I guess. And yeah, it's the Neo white paper. And here we have the Neo roadmap. This is just an image I pulled up from Reddit. Let's see here. Any comments? No? Okay. Neo roadmap. Okay, so what we got here, they have three different main objectives they want to have, or focuses they want to have to build upon. First one being decentralization of consensus nodes. So basically how they derive consensus for the blockchain. So Q4, P2P network optimization. So a lot of just optimization. Neo console consensus node. That's interesting. I have to look more into that, but that's 2018. Universal data format for wallet node progression. Private key encryption and decryption. Basically, that's probably just making things more secure. Universal data format, so making things more optimized. So whatever digitized assets you have, they would be more compatible with the internal systems. And the rest is just promotion and ecosystem. Not big stuff. DevCon, Neo DevCon 1. So basically they're having conventions for developers to build dApps, decentralized applications, C projects, funding, etc., etc. That's more news will come about that as we approach that. So yeah, that's that. So yeah, next we have EOS. Okay, EOS. This is the one an individual from the last live stream was asking about. And yeah, EOS is supposed to be, it's the Western competitor to Ethereum. The number one thing EOS tries to claim that Ethereum just cannot compete with is scalability. So they're trying to say, oh, EOS is so much more scalable than Ethereum, which I guess from their white paper they claim that, but the thing is, EOS as of right now is not operational, so we just don't know. Let's go to their white paper. That's from that's a roadmap. Let's click on their technical white paper. I'll pull it up. Oh, I already had it up. Okay, I didn't know it was the legit one, but a third-party one. But hey, let's keep looking. So yeah, EOS. Flexible, freeze and fix broken applications, generalized role-based permissions, and they have a web toolkit. Pretty standard stuff. Okay, so a lot of these tokens, how they distribute it, they have it in phases. So kernel distribution is 2 million EOS, and what they received is 902 Ethereum, which isn't a lot of Ethereum if you think about it. But this is only one phase. So yeah. Let's go through their white paper, see if they have anything else that's pretty interesting. And by the way, like I said before, the guy who was the architect behind EOS was the guy behind BitShares and Steam. So the guy's got has some experience under his belt regarding blockchain based cryptos. Okay, they're just talking about millions of free usage. Okay, standard, low latency, standard, parallel performance, standard, consensus algorithm. Okay, one big thing also they have is they are, from the get-go, EOS is proof of stake, unlike Ethereum, which is a benefit. So, for instance, if we take a use case, right? If Ethereum, right, pretend something happens and they can't do proof of stake, right? Or it takes a while, maybe it takes a year or two to get the proof of stake, and Ethereum is kind of falling off, right? So if that happens and EOS launches and they have proof of stake and people really want that, then it's very bullish for EOS. But yeah, they're saying they're gonna have proof of stake from the get-go. Awesome. Transaction is proof of stake. Okay, it's like a different method of proof of stake. So yeah, we already know that. Let's keep going down. Let's see if they have anything else here. Contracts. Okay, we already know that. Recovery from stolen keys. Okay, this is a little different. Recovery from stolen keys. The EOS.io software provides users a way to restore control of their account when their keys are stolen. An account owner can use any owner key that was active in the last 30 days along with approval from their designated account recovery partner to reset the owner key on their account. The account recovery partner cannot reset control of the account without the help of the owner. There's nothing for the hacker to gain by attempting to go through the recovery process because they already control the account. Furthermore, if they did go through the process, the recovery partner would likely demand identification and multi-factor authentication, phone and email. This would likely compromise the hacker or gain the hacker nothing in the process. The process is also very different from the multi-signature arrangement. With multi-signature transaction, there's another company that is party to every transaction that is executed. But the recovery process, the agent is only a party to the recovery process and has no power over the day-to-day transaction. This dramatically reduces costs and legal liabilities for everyone involved. Yeah, that's bullish. I like that. That's good. So yeah, I like that. It's pretty self-explanatory. Nothing to really get into depth about that. Definitely bullish because a lot of these issues with these keys, right? Because everyone holds these private keys. if you lose it, you're straight up fucked, man. Sorry for my language, but you're straight up screwed. You lose it. Someone has your information. They could take it. There's not usually a way to take it back, to get it back. But here, I guess there's like some sort of stop, so you have more control over it. I like it. Parallel execution applications. Let me just read this really quickly to myself. Okay, so basically saying this could be parallel execution applications, software-based application, independent threads, message delivery. The state of each account depends only upon the messages delivered to it. The schedule of the output of the block producer will be deterministically executed, but the process for generating the schedule need not be deterministic. This means that block producers can utilize parallel algorithms, to schedule transactions. So it's saying the way it operates transactions through smart contracts, basically you can schedule at any time. So for instance, if you're a type of person that you want to have a certain delivery of a consumable goods every month or so, then you could actually put a smart contract, or you have an app or a decentralized application that uses a contract that you could get that over and over every month. So pretty standard, but the way they're approaching is a little bit different. Okay, there's minimizing communication latency. Basically, they're trying to make it quicker. They have their own method of doing that. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, also they have block rewards. DOPS EOS software will award new tokens to a block producer every time a block is produced. In these circumstances, the number of tokens created is determined by the median or of the desired pay published by all block producers. The EOS.io software may be configured to enforce a cap on producer rewards, such that the total annual increase in token supply does not exceed 5%. So they're keeping a cap on token awards, but a lot of these coins now, it's kind of like dividends if you think about it, but it encourages people to play in the space. So EOS is like, hey, we're not Ethereum, we're not this big dog, right? But we still want people to come play in our playground, right? Come shoot hoops with us. Come swing on the monkey bars. But people are like, why would we do that? You know, it's like people are like, these developers, like, why are we gonna go to Microsoft mobile store, right, for their Windows phone, if we're like, hey, everyone's at iOS, we're gonna go where the party is. So yeah, they're gonna say, all right, maybe we could give a little incentive out, saying, hey, we got proof of stake, but maybe for the cherry on top, we'll give out block rewards, that's good. You know, I like to see that. Okay, so they're gonna do freezing accounts, which is similar to like what the Ryan Network wanted to do. Constitution. Okay, virtual machines. We're talking about virtual machines for smart contracts, right? Merkle proofs. Okay. Basically just talking about this, how the blocks work and validation, how it works. A lot of cryptos are based upon this, so we don't have to get over that. Okay, that's basically EOS. The problem with EOS is it's just so early on, and from the basically what you get from the white paper without being here for another hour or two, literally just going all into this. What we could take away from EOS is it's an Ethereum and Neo competitor. Their main focus is what they're trying to say is like, hey, we give out, the way that we secure our private keys is a little bit different. We're from the get-go proof of stake, and we give out tokens as rewards. So it's good. Will it make it? I don't know. We still have to wait and see. But if you're a type of person that you're like, all right, proof of stake's my thing, I want that, then this might be a good alternative for you if you don't want to participate in Ethereum. So let's move on. Oh, let's check out the roadmap. Okay, so we're here at phase 2. Everything phase 1 assumes a trust environment that only runs the developer's own code before a test network can be deployed. Several additional features need to be implemented and tested. So right now they're testing the stuff. Like I said before, they're testing before they launch basically their beta network, right? So we're at the fall 2017 P2P network code. Like they don't even have that done, right? So they're telling you who's working on this, each one. That is a plugin that is responsible for synchronizing the blockchain state between two standalone nodes. They even haven't gotten that done. Like we're talking, like people are trying to say, okay, how about EOS, right? Because everyone's getting their tokens, everyone's buying the tokens, right? But hey, read the white paper, read their roadmap, right? We're in phase 2, right, of this very early ecosystem / smart, whatever you want to call this type of crypto, right? So we're going to talk at the Ethereum class of cryptocurrency. I might even call it currency, crypto, the Ethereum class of crypto. Because right now, even how the way even talking about this stuff, the definitions aren't even set in stone. They're like there's like a plasticity to it. It's like ethereal, no pun intended, but it's kind of like in the space that we don't even like the language behind it is not set in stone what we're gonna call this stuff. So we're just gonna call it the Ethereum class of crypto. They don't even have P2P done. Like that's big, man. Like how can you even, for me, like I couldn't even invest in this right now personally because they don't even have P2P done. Once it at least gets that done, because okay, synchronizing the blockchain between two standalone nodes, very basic stuff. They don't even have that done. They can have words on paper, but they don't even have that done. So for me, whatever, it's not too big. What else they got here? Sanitation and sandboxing. Non-deterministic behavior, okay, standard resource usage tracking array, Genesis import testing. So once again, Genesis import testing has not even started the Genesis block. But let's see, right? So all of this doesn't matter for them. Not this, but like everything that's happening right now with EOS, right? What we're looking here is like, all right, this is basic stuff. If you're like, if we're gonna look at it, let's just see when this is gonna come out. Because when they launch, then we could actually analyze and see if the hype is real. When they're trying to launch this, develop example applications. Look at this word, example applications. Okay, we're not even close. I mean, I'm looking at this, we're not even close. Okay, winter 2017, spring 2018. Look at this, dude. Bounties for successfully attacking network. A lot of these blockchains, they just try to hire hackers or hire people that'll try to find exploits in this fucking virtual machine. Because if they launch this now, or they're like, once they get all this done, right? This phase 2, right? Which is basically setting up the building blocks of EOS. If they get this done, and these launched in the network, then okay, then people will exploit it. If there was a huge smart contract or some application regarding transactions built, if someone hacks that, then EOS will just tank and people will pull out because they're like, you know what, screw you, we're going straight to Ethereum or Neo, and we're done with this. But that's why they're like, all right, now we need bounties for successfully attacking the network because we got to figure out something that's stable and it's secure. Version 1.0. So yeah, we're way behind it. Language support, any language support. They don't even have this. They don't even have C++. Documentation tutorials. So yeah, this is basically testing security audits, parallel optimization, spring, summer, fall 2018. After getting a stable 1.0 product is released, we will move toward optimizing the code for parallel execution, cluster implementation from the future, phase 5. We don't even know this. Okay. You guys, give me your thoughts about this too. Honestly, I gotta hear your thoughts about this. But this is where I'm coming from right now. Okay. How? What is gonna happen? Okay, if they don't launch this until late 2018, early 2019, and that's just the basis of this foundation, without anything crazy competing with. Because most likely by then Ethereum's going to have proof of stake already. Neo's going to be way down and they're going to have a lot of dApps already. They're going to be running with it, right? Ethereum and Neo is going to be running with it. So how is EOS going to compete when already people are already flooding to Ethereum and Neo? You know, it's like you're late to the game, and that's a problem. And for instance, maybe once EOS gets developed and they're ready for market, right? They're ready for people to be built on it. Maybe another competitor to Ethereum and Neo comes out, which isn't EOS, and they're like, you know what? We're going to do Ethereum and Neo better. But what we're going to do is we're going to add a lot of these newer features that these companies don't have, or these blockchains don't have. Then EOS is going to be completely screwed then too, because you're already behind Ethereum and Neo, and now you have to compete with this new blockchain that does what you're going to do, and they're almost ready already. They might be 6 months out of line until they're launching, but they have some crazy new they have a crazy new application or feature that EOS doesn't have. Which over here, if you look at the entire EOS roadmap, their entire roadmap is just them getting ready for launch. That's all it is. It's nothing on top of what they already have. So if you look at their language from their white paper, it's mostly just them priding themselves over proof of stake. Whatever. Not for me, honestly. So yeah, could it be big? Sure. I'm not saying it will not be, but it's kind of like a wait and see with everything else. But yeah, this is way too early right now. Maybe if we're gonna look at EOS in the future, what we should look at is down. Okay, not P2P coding. We gotta be looking at this. This is the big part right here. Develop example applications. We have to see what type of stuff they can build on this. Let's see if it's anything special, right? Bounties for successfully attacking network. We have to see if it's really exploitable. If they have huge, maybe they have huge holes in their code. Who knows? We have to see that, and we have to look at their language support. So next time we should check on this, in my opinion. All right, let's move on to the news now. We're done. Okay, Ethereum, Neo, EOS, we're done with this. Spent 2 hours on it basically. But yeah, it's a good conversation, a good discussion. I mean, we talk about the strengths of each one. We talk about how each one is going to be implemented to the global economic structure besides EOS because it's too far along. And right now, Ethereum is leading the charge, and the East is really adopting Neo. But those are the two strengths. They're not in direct competition. They might be in the future, but I think both of them, they're both bullish. I think Neo might have the longer term benefit, but that's only because of its relation to the One Belt One Road rather than its actual coding, if that makes sense. So yeah, let's move on to the news. Okay, did we see anything? Oh, late to the party. Oh, hey, Chris. Welcome, dude. Yeah, dude, it's good to have you here, man. Thanks for checking in. If you want to, I think there's like the DVR playback in the YouTube live stream. That basically the entire time I was talking about Ethereum, Neo, and EOS. Basically comparing them, going over their white papers, checking their roadmap, seeing what's going to come in the future of each one. And basically, yeah, just looking into all three of them, try looking them into in depth of each of them, and yeah, just comparing them, see what's going to happen. Neo with China and the East and the One Belt One Road, Ethereum with their current collaborators for the Ethereum Alliance, and seeing what's going to go on with the Serenity fork, and also how they're going to achieve proof of stake hopefully by the end of the year. And basically EOS, which is basically a small competitor that's really trying to compete against Ethereum, but as of right now, it's not looking too good for them. But we'll see in the future. But right now, we're gonna get to is Vladimir Putin mandates new rules for cryptocurrencies and ICOs. Yeah, and Chris, thanks for tuning in, man. Yeah, Russian President Vladimir Putin has mandated new regulations around cryptocurrencies, including registration requirements for miners and the application of security laws into ICOs, initial coin offerings. The Kremlin published 5 orders from Putin over the weekend, representing perhaps the most direct move to date by the Russian government to oversee activities around the tech. Not only do the orders from Putin mandate new legal structures around cryptocurrency within Russia, they ambitiously establish a plan to use the technology to create a single payment space within the Eurasian Economic Union, which features Armenia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Russia as members. So before we move on to the next paragraph, so the Eurasian Economic Union, right, including Armenia, which is my motherland, right? Belarus, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Russia. These are all nations that are going to be part of the One Belt One Road initiative. So this is good for the One Belt One Road and Russia, because at the end of the day, they're going to have to somewhat regulate this stuff as we move forward, because as the One Belt One Road gets established, there has to be a way that you could bridge cryptocurrencies with governments. There has to be a way. So instead of this weird gray area that we are, that's driving a lot of this anxiety in the markets, at least now it's a very clear thing what's happening now, at least in Russia and the East, because China's going to start coming out with their own stuff too, with their own regulations, which they have already, but more so in the near future. So yeah, this is like the East is making moves while the US and Europe is basically twiddling their thumbs and having the SEC attack random things. So let's move on to the next paragraph. Notably, Russia intends to apply rules for initial public offerings to the ICU use case, though which cryptographic tokens are sold to bootstrap a new blockchain network. Putin also ordered that the government, under the Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev, develop a system for cryptocurrency miners to register and pay taxes on their income. One of the decrees seemed to throw its weight by existing efforts within the State Duma, Russia's national legislator, as well as central bank, to develop legislation that regulates cryptocurrency activities. Okay, that last part, not a big fan of, but let's see what the exact quote has to say. The government of the Russian Federation, in conjunction with the Bank of Russia, shall ensure that the changes are made to the legislation of the Russian Federation, providing for the determination of the status of digital technologies used in the financial sphere and their concepts, including such as technology of distributed registries, digital letters of credit, digital mortgage, cryptocurrency, token, smart contract, based on the obligation of the ruble as the only legal tender in the Russian Federation. The Russian government also wants to throw its weight behind efforts by startups to develop new financial services around the tech. One of the decrees mandates the creation of so-called regulatory sandbox, or a framework within which companies can test products in limited settings. Some countries, including the UK, have set up finance-oriented sandboxes that have attracted a number of blockchain-focused companies to date. Okay, once again, bottlenecks, right? These governments need bottlenecks, because they're scared shitless of it. They need bottlenecks to regulate and to keep control, or at least to absorb some of this energy to fuel itself, or to run in parallel with the cryptocurrencies, so this new financial system can bloom. Now, what really stood out to me, right, is let me see, which statement was it? Okay, yeah, right here. Based on the obligation as the ruble as the only legal tender in the Russian Federation. Now, does that mean just the ruble, or does it mean the crypto ruble? Because I personally believe that the ruble will be phased out within 5 to 10 years, with the crypto ruble being the staple, or being the straight up the only being the national cryptocurrency of Russia, or the national currency at all of Russia. So yeah, it's kind of like the government's know is like, all right, if we just have cryptocurrency and we don't make the switch, then the whole taxing situation and the regulations is completely out of the air. So you need some things, you know, like unless you have a very big anarchist wet dream of some sort. I lean more libertarian, so it's kind of like I don't like governments sticking their hands in things, but I could see how at least this isn't like the worst thing in the world. Like I was like this could have gone a lot worse in my opinion during the regulations. So this kind of shows that Russia is for cryptocurrencies, the crypto ruble, all this stuff. It's bullish. And this is bullish. Yeah, and this so-called regulatory sandbox. Basically, they're basically testing to see if these cryptocurrencies, their test case usage, and they don't want anything too crazy being implemented that could literally disrupt everything in their financial sector and literally just blow it up. Yeah, so, but as of right now, from the blockchains that we've seen, they're all being used in Russia for the most part, being traded in Russia, and nothing has been broken yet. So unless these blockchain that's going to come out in the future is so debilitating for these nations, which I don't think they will be, only for banking institutions, but that's for a completely different topic. But overall, bullish, not the worst thing in the world. Putin, this is not the worst thing I've seen in terms of government stuff. Definitely a way more healthy approach to it than the U.S. Because at the end of the day, we're gonna need some sort of regulation for this stuff, or at least nations need regulations for this stuff. There are going to be people, I believe, in the future that are going to be basically global citizens that are going to operate outside of the system, and there's going to be nations, I believe, that are going to be crypto nations. Nations are like any crypto, anything crypto goes. We're not going to deal with it. There's going to be smaller nations that are pretty tech savvy and tech oriented. And you're like, you come here, be a citizen of this nation, and your taxing and stuff is going to be extremely minimal. And the regulations are going to be extremely minimal. But we want to bring all the old blockchain knowledge and chaos into these nations. And that's what's going to be fueling the wealth in these specific test case usage nations. Which for me, I'm Armenian, so it's like when I see Armenia, because I was just in Armenia over the summer, I know some people that do Bitcoin over there, but the government's pretty much clueless, but now they're going to be part of it. I was hoping Armenia might be a nation of that, you know, of being this crypto nation. But being under the wing of Russia, unfortunately, they cannot be like that because Armenia is a landlocked nation and they don't have a lot of resources. So for me, I was hoping that Armenia could maybe fly like under the radar and become a crypto nation, which it still could be because Armenia has is trying to grow to be a very strong tech sector. But to be like this independent crypto nation, which some very minute nations like in Northern Africa and also some parts of some Arab states will become that, like saying, okay, we're going to be straight up crypto, minimal regulations, minimal everything, and anything goes really. So yeah, very interesting. More stuff's going to come out about this. Pretty much, I'm pretty happy about this too, to be honest with you, because now what this does is, like I said before, China and Russia, they're gonna have to come forward and put very hard definitions and rules. Because if you look at security laws in America, they don't have words like digital ledgers. Like if you see this paragraph down here, digital ledgers are letters of credit, digital mortgage, cryptocurrency, token, smart contract. These terms now, because I said previously, like these words that we have for these terms, a lot of them call them different things. There's some minute differences. They're not written in stone, but they're starting to be written in stone. So if you could define these terms with a specific definition, then you could start understanding, or people could start participating more on a bigger scale, because they could A, understand it, and B, they could act upon it because the definition is is laid bare for everyone, for both parties. Because now people are like, oh, Bitcoin, you know, it's money. Nah, it's more than that, you know. Oh, Ethereum, it's a currency, right? No, it's an ecosystem. It's smart contracts. Tokens could be made use for literally tokens be created for literally anything. You know, it could be human labor. It could be anything from human labor to assets. You know, like it's like, how do you define these terms? Because blockchain is blockchain. You know, blockchain can be used for anything. It's like, what do you call for that? And like digital mortgage, what is that? What is digital mortgage that they're saying here? Is it something like salt lending? Salt's a blockchain that you convert. You could use your cryptocurrency as lending for fiat. You know, so how do you define these terms? We've never been in the situation ever before in history that we've never been in this point of history that we had these type of assets that are so fluid and could be in so many different forms and functions, that are in so many different types of business and basically just human logistics that cannot be defined. Because even when we say cryptocurrency, what is a cryptocurrency still, you know? Is Ethereum a cryptocurrency, or is it just Ether? So this is a step in the right direction at least, but it can still be being misused in a lot of different ways. So definitely keep an eye out for that. Definitely, as we're going to go along in other live streams too, I'll talk more of the geopolitical side of this stuff and see how it can impact, because you cannot disconnect cryptocurrencies from the geopolitical scheme of what's happening in the world right now. No way. Next topic. No, just a home screen. Home screen. Bitcoin price falls to 5-day low. Okay. Now we're getting to Bitcoin Gold. Bitcoin Gold. You guys were on the stream. I was assuming that some of you guys were on the stream with me yesterday when the Bitcoin Gold fork happened. Oh, thanks, Chris. Okay, okay, Chris. This is now my #1 new crypto resource. Is awesome. I don't have time to read every article. Watching someone go over this stuff could save me a lot of time. You definitely got something here. I'll shut up and listen now. Yeah, thanks, Chris. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, and subscribe too if you want to get updates and stuff. And you also subscribe to me on my Twitter down Kevork_MLC. But yeah, this is why I primarily do this stuff too, because there's so much stuff happening all the time, every hour. Like, things change constantly, you know? So most people don't have the time. And I'll be live streaming basically every day. So if you want to tune in, just listen to it. I'll be doing ICO analyses and like just going over the news. And if you have any specific cryptocurrencies that you are interested in, then let me know and I can take a look, do my research on it, and get back to you if it's something I don't know. If it's something I do know, then I'll just talk about it, you know, straight up. So yeah, we're gonna talk about Bitcoin Gold now. Bitcoin Gold. What is Bitcoin Gold trying to accomplish? Because like I said before, it's not the creators of it did not want it to compete with Bitcoin, but it wants to change the way it's mined so people with less money can make money off of it and mine it. But here's the problem, right? Bitcoin is trying to solve the problem of inflation, right? Printing money out of thin air, limitless replication. But what if Bitcoin Gold 5 years down the line, right? What if it becomes too expensive to mine? Okay, what happens then? Then we could just make a new Bitcoin out of that. We could just fork again. We keep forking and forking and forking and forking, which basically, if you look at it from the macro scale, it is a limitless replication, right? So this is kind of like the cognitive dissonance that Bitcoin has right now, and why I'm pretty not bearish on Bitcoin. It's like we gotta get to the next phase of cryptocurrencies. And so we could come to a equilibrium, because right now things are such in chaos that we have to come to a certain equilibrium to all of this. Because Bitcoin Gold, what Bitcoin Gold did, which from this article I read yesterday, where I'm gonna go into it specifically right here. In short, Bitcoin Gold aims to achieve two things. Let me highlight this. First, Bitcoin Gold wants to change how mining works by making it so the most powerful mining machines, called ASICs, can no longer be used. Second, by attracting more people to the system over time, it hopes to free the Bitcoin network from the large companies that offer these products. And it argues command undue influence on the network. Okay, so what happens, right? What happens when it gets to the point where it just does not become viable for the little guy to come in and make money? It's kind of like, it's a short-term solution, and it just makes Bitcoin look bad because it has a Bitcoin name, and two, it's like it could just fork again. And it's like, to me, it's like the idea behind money and inflation, and this is inflation. Like, to me, this is inflation. So a lot of people are like, oh, it'll give power to the little guy. Nah, I don't. For the short time, maybe. For the long term, I think it's just kind of like, I think Bitcoin Gold will die off pretty quickly in relative to Bitcoin Cash. I could be wrong, but To me, Bitcoin Cash at least does something different than Bitcoin. It scales differently. You know, Bitcoin Gold, the only thing it primarily does is that it's just the way the mining is different. It just limits you onto what type of hardware you want. So it becomes more competitive. But once again, it's the idea behind what is money. Cryptocurrencies are changing the definition of what is money and how it operates and how we give value to something, right? To me, it's like Bitcoin is there. Bitcoin is number one because it's been around the longest, has the biggest blockchain, so it's the hardest to attack in terms of hacking into it. And yeah, it represents anti-debt because our Western fiat or global fiat system is currently dying. So Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies offer a solution. But if you look at these other coins that are basically Bitcoin clones, right? These other minute coins that have, like, for instance, Dogecoin, basically, right? We're going to talk about something like a meme, Dogecoin, right? Bitcoin Gold is kind of like Dogecoin, you know? It's like, it's just like another altcoin, but these cryptocurrencies, like these type of cryptocurrencies, right, don't really have a future. The future of blockchain, in my opinion, is very specific use case blockchains for either commodities, human logistics, or actual national cryptocurrencies or specific cryptocurrencies, like Litecoin, in my opinion. Litecoin, because Litecoin could be used for day-to-day usage because how quick it is and how well it can be scaled, and the amount of coins out there. Because at a certain point, you're not gonna need more coins than people on the planet, you know. So, or specific of that one coin. So Bitcoin Gold to me is just like, it's like whatever. It'll be around, but it's gonna be very minute. It won't be that strong for the long term. But yeah, that's my quick follow up on Bitcoin Gold. Just because yesterday after the stream, I was just like thinking to myself, because I was talking about that problem about inflation and how that's gonna affect for the long term. So just thinking about it, letting it simmer. Then today I just want to reiterate that. So we'll definitely be checking on that in the future, Bitcoin Gold, and see where it's going to be going. If it does well, good. I'm happy people could get on it and make money, because it's still better than the US dollar in my opinion. So, but yeah, it's like, I don't know, just the idea behind it, or the reasons why behind it, I just don't believe it. Because if you're gonna make, once again, if you're gonna make a new blockchain, make it for a resource or a function that hasn't been done in blockchain already, that gives a benefit to communities or humanity. Don't build it as like a copycat of already an existing system. Because why do we need more than one type of global currency, you know, if you're going to view it that way, right? You have each national cryptocurrency that every government is going to use for their own taxing purposes, for their own internal infrastructure, or whatever they want to do. Okay, good. That's going to be needed for nations if they want to keep their own sovereignty, which is needed. Then another test case usage, you have Bitcoin, right? The global currency. So all these nations have their own national cryptocurrency, and they're all going to be pegged to Bitcoin. Then from that, you're going to have these blockchain-based applications or blockchain-based coins or tokens or applications that are going to be for extreme case or extreme use cases for specific purposes, and their value is going to be derived from how important that is for either the nation that they're from or from the global economy. So that's where the value's from. So this is just kind of like a one-shot. We're trying to solve it by giving more power to the people, but really what it does is it's kind of like quantitative easing, kinda, I guess, or just like a printing. It's just printing money. So we're gonna move on to the next one. So yeah, Bitcoin falls to 5-day low. It's altcoin mania right now, guys. I hope you guys invest in something else, but other than Bitcoin right now. I've made a little bit of money from Litecoin right now. Stratus went up, Monocoin went up. We're gonna look more into Bitrex right now, but oh yeah, and besides going, I forgot about this article. Bitcoin Gold website down following DDoS attack. Oh great, here we go again. A new cryptocurrency called BTG, Bitcoin Gold, blah blah. Snapshot of the blockchain's means a replica of new rules. I'll try to see it. Let me go to the actual meat of the article. But hours later, it seems like the website is still being bombarded, preventing those who wish to keep track of the cryptocurrency's progress. Complicating matters that the new blockchain is not yet public, and block explorers or other common tracking tools have yet to be released. Okay. I'm just reading this really quickly. I haven't read this article yet. That's why. Okay, just a DDoS attack. Yeah, it's early. So when these new forks happen, we don't have all the information yet because most people can't retrieve their actual Bitcoin gold right now because of the tools out there to retrieve it, because it's still on the private key. But right now, apparently there's a DDoS attack. I wonder how this is developing right now, because this article was from 13 Universal. Okay, so this was a little while ago. But yeah, there's a DDoS attack on the actual website. So it's not to the coin, so we don't have to worry about that. But maybe there might be some background manipulation. That's my suspicious mind behind it, because if you look at it, right, why are they going to keep the ledger? Why is it being a DDoS on the ledger, right? Are the coins moving somewhere? Because you have to look, this coin has been pre-mined. It's been pre-mined. I was 100,000 Bitcoin gold was pre-mined. So maybe that pre-mined coin that people have, that the developers have, maybe it's moving around somewhere, you know? So I'll definitely, for my live stream tomorrow, there'll probably be a follow-up to this. But right now, I'm glad I didn't hold Bitcoin. You know, right now I'm holding other coins, and I'm not holding Bitcoin because I'm like, Bitcoin gold, I don't think it's gonna. I really wasn't for it. I got my Bitcoin Cash. I thought at least it did something different. So I got the Bitcoin Cash, but Bitcoin gold, I'm like, not worth for me to get the extra Bitcoin gold. Not worth the hassle. Not worth putting on a Trezor wallet or putting it on a different exchange. A compatible exchange, or putting it on a different wallet like an Electrum wallet, to get that Bitcoin gold, because I won't be able to access it for a week or two anyway. And if this shit's happening with this DDoS attack on the website, I'm glad I'm not even involved with this. And that's the beautiful thing about the crypto space. If you don't want to be involved with it, don't be involved with this. Like, I'm not involved. To me, the creators claim that this is not even the real Bitcoin, so there's not even like a cognitive dissonance within itself to compare itself to Bitcoin. So I'm glad I'm out. Whatever. Is there even any comments people are saying? Well, whatever. Yeah, so it's whatever. Let's move on to the next one. Yeah, Bitcoin. What's going to happen is all these altcoins are going up, especially with this DDoS attack. It's going to be flooding. So where's that money going to go to? It's going to go to other altcoins, which we're going to check here right now. Oh yeah, before we move to the BitREX, and we're gonna check the altcoins really quickly. Let's check about Malta. Proposes new rules for cryptocurrency investment funds. Yeah, so basically this is Europe. They're gonna, oh wow, okay, so you actually have the script right here. Not gonna go over this. What's the main thing here? Okay, so they're developing a rule book to regulate professional investor funds. This is the thing, right? These government institutions it's going to take a while for them to adjust to cryptocurrency space, because the internet moves a lot quicker. The internet moves a lot quicker than governments can make rules for these cryptocurrencies. So basically what that means is, like the MFSA here, they're considering whether the the alternative investment funds and notified alternative investment funds should also be allowed to invest in virtual currencies. They can't even come up with a decision, let alone make a decision. A lot of them. That's why Russia and China are making moves while Europe and America are twiddling their thumbs. Come on, guys. The West needs to wake up and at least make a goddamn decision, you know? Because if the West is going to come out bashing Bitcoin and banning Bitcoin, okay, do that. Watch Bitcoin go to $10,000 the next goddamn day. But at least make up your mind, because this gray area is killing the West right now. They're trying to make rules, but they can't figure out what they want to do. So this is just like another random European nation. Just keep with them trying to make rules, etc., etc. It's just just a complete headache and not even worth it. They're wasting their goddamn time right now because it's not going to do anything until the nations. Like, if anything's going to make rules for anything that's involved with the EU is going to make it, because the EU runs Europe, man. They run Europe. So the ECB, the European Central Bank, these entities are going to make the regulations. It's not going to be sovereign nations unless they pull out of the goddamn EU. So maybe like Catalonia, or if the East breaks off, like Poland and Austria and all those nations, if they pull the EU, then they'll make decisions, you know. But as of right now, the EU will make decisions. And right now they've been fudding the hell out of Bitcoin, because obviously they're banking institutions. They're Western banking institutions. Their entire power is from them. Is from them having power over people's money. So, yeah. Yep. Let's move on. Let's go. To wrap it up, guys. Let's just go on Bitrex. Let's see what coins have been going up. Just a quick one. Okay, Neo barely went up. Okay, these have gone up a little bit more. So I knew 8x, right? 8x is this coin is it's basically advertising. They're trying to change the way how advertisements are done online through blockchain. Basically, this was up like 30% last time I checked before the live stream, and it just dumped. This is bad. Like, you could have made a quick money swing from this, but yeah, if people don't know, Mona coin is basically like a this one has been going up recently. It's basically a an exchange market in Japan on blockchain. I saw their website. It's pretty basic, but they're pretty popular from what I've heard, so that's good. Stratus, good. They're smart contracts. They're doing very well right now. I like what they're doing. Bitcoin Cash is going up. So yeah, you can see all the altcoins are just going up. It's altcoin mania right now, because Bitcoin is going through a growing pains of the fork and the whole Bitcoin gold DDoS attack. So yeah, let's see what else is here. Potcoin going up. Any other weak coins going up right now? No. Yeah, and right now, guys, I'm not doing any trading right now. Hopefully by next week, I'll start doing trading, and I'll be part of it. So the kind of format I want to have is start off with, because right now, today I compared Ethereum. If you weren't here for the live stream in the beginning, what I did was I broke down Ethereum, even the roadmap, Neo and EOS. I did all that. That was like the first hour and 40 minutes. And that was a long one, because Ethereum and Neo are really big. You know, they're going to be really big in the future. So I want to make sure I went through I did that pretty thoroughly. So the format I want to do is either do comparison of coins in the beginning, or break down an ICO, specific ICO, then do going over the news, just like basic news, what's going on in the space, checking in markets. Then I'll do some trading at the end. But for now, I'm not going to do that. This is like the second stream that we've been doing here at Major League Crypto, and I thank you all for watching. But for now, I'm just going to close off, just looking to see if anything here, like kind of like I find interesting. But overall, Internet of People, Komodo, nothing too crazy. Just altcoins have been going up. So expect this rally to maybe go on for another day, and it'll go down, and Bitcoin will probably bounce back. Actually, we don't know. Let's see how Bitcoin Gold is doing. So keep an eye on Bitcoin Gold, because this is always like the growing pains of a fork when it happens with Bitcoin. Because people need to know SegWit 2 is coming up, or 2x is coming up, Bitcoin 2x next month. So you're having boom, boom, one after another, with also Bitcoin Cash coming up prior. So that's a huge thing that we have to look at. So yeah. And also, before we close, if you guys have any questions right now, or any last minute stuff you guys want me to check, or you guys are confused about with either Ethereum, Neo, EOS, or anything in particular, or there's an actual coin that you guys want me to look over, now's the time to look in the to post in the chat if you guys want to see anything. Yeah, so I'll just be trying to, let me vape, and you guys could send me a quick reply. Oh, okay. Yeah, thanks, Chris. Bro, can you do a stream on shady ICOs? What to watch out for? Oh, thanks, Eric. Yeah, if you guys see in the chat, Major League Trading, that's our parent company. So we have Major League Trading, Major League Stocks, Major League Crypto, and soon Major League Forex. We have a great team of people. We're doing awesome stuff. And yeah, Chris, I will be. You know what? Next stream tomorrow. You know that could be a major focus for us. We'll be talking about shit coins, brightly shit coins and shit ICOs and all that, because we have to look at, there's gonna be 1,000 ICOs this year, like upcoming, like from this year, next year, it's gonna be 1,000 ICOs, probably really more than that. Yeah, if you guys love this channel, please subscribe. You know, we could, a lot more updates are coming, a lot more interesting stuff in the future, interviews with some people. So yeah, Chris, yeah, I'll be talking about it. We'll talk about skin coin. I saw some people online getting the skin coin, and people, watch out, man. If you see these ICOs, right, and people are posting these addresses to send your Ethereum, or usually it's Ethereum because they're Ethereum-based ICOs, do not send your Ethereum or any of your cryptos to those things, because they're all fucking scams. They're phishing. Because you have to look at it, understand. You have to understand if you send your cryptocurrency, right? If you send it, this isn't bank, you know, there's no backing behind this. This isn't FDIC. There's no SEC getting involved. You're trying to get involved, but no one's accountable because it's bigger than everything, you know? So if you send your Ethereum, right? If there's gonna be an upcoming ICO, shitcoin, we're gonna call it shitcoin, right? If they're like, all right, shitcoin ICO, this is the 24 hours for this ICO, right? And you go on Reddit, right? So you're going on Reddit doing your research, you're on the Ethereum subreddit or something, right? And some guy's like, yeah, for the Ethereum ICO, send your Ethereum to this address. And some guy just posted it. The guy could Photoshop it and put his put his address right there. And if you send it, there is no way you'll ever see that coin ever again. But I'll go more in depth in that on tomorrow's live stream. I'll put together my experience with it, show you the typical scams behind it, typical how to see how pump and dumps happen, see in real time, because it's not just ICOs that happen pump and dump. There's all coins at some point pump and dump for the most part. Not just like not just like straight up shit coins. Like decent coins get pumped and dumped too. It's just a natural process, because this is the Wild West, man. Cryptocurrencies are the Wild West, and you have to see when something's happened. I'll show you guys that and see, and I'll show you guys that and show you how there might be a possible ways to benefit from that. Maybe ride the wave to the top and sell and get the hell out, because it's going to drop 20, 30, 40, 50%. So, but yeah, there's a lot of money to be made. And to me, I'm just interested from the technology too. Besides from the money, man, the money is great. You know, like if you know what you're doing and you're trading, you can make money. But at the same time too, I'm the type of guy, I love philosophy. I love politics. I love history. I love currency. I love economics, man. I love human logistics. So for me, this is like a very exciting time to be alive. So yeah, I'll leave it at that, man. Thank you everyone for watching. If you love the content, this video will be uploaded to YouTube after. So if you want to watch any stuff that you missed from previously, the Ethereum, EOS, Neo, all that type of stuff, the video will be posted directly after. And if you love this content, subscribe and tune in tomorrow. So our other sister company, Major League Trading, where our friend, my partner Jack, he runs for Nadex binary options. He has his webinar at 8 p.m. Central also. So I'll probably be going live maybe an hour earlier tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah, and you love the content, share with everyone you know. I want to create a community. We want to create a community here, you know. We'll soon, I will make a Telegram group. So if there's any news breaking out, we'll all post it together and we'll all keep updated together, because there's so much information. Even for me, you know, this is a lot, you know, like getting to know there's 1,000 ICOs coming up. We have to figure out which ones are good, which ones are bad, and analyze the hell out of it. And the more minds coming together on this, then the more insight that we'll have to make the best decision moving on forward. So yeah, leaving it from that, thank you so much, and everyone have a great evening. Yeah.